Good morning, everybody. Monday Morning Motivation is here. How is everyone doing this morning? How was your Thanksgiving? Has everybody recovered from the food coma?
Oh man, how was your Thanksgiving, Mr. Delisle?
My Thanksgiving was great. My parents were in town, and my brother-in-laws both came over. And my sister-in-law was here.
Yep.
And her niece came with them as well.
Yep.
And we had good food, and we had family, and we had a lot of time hanging out. And then Black Friday, afterwards, my parents were still here. And my one brother-in-law came over as well, and we decorated the outside of the house and the inside of the house and the tree and all of that stuff for the Christmas season. And we all had dinner and just got to do a lot of family stuff, and it was really, really great. So how was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. I always have good Thanksgivings. I love Thanksgiving. It's a great holiday. I have a lot to be grateful for this year. But I usually always have great Thanksgiving because I married Chris Cooking Nashville. So I always know that the food will be really, really good. But no, it was awesome. It was just a good time of like good food and just being able to spend time with family.
Yeah.
And, Chris and I usually have worked day jobs in all of our years together. We've been together for 6 years, I guess, going on 7. And, we always have had to work Black Friday and all of Thanksgiving weekend. And so this was the first year that we've been together that we actually got the whole Thanksgiving and the whole weekend off. So it was just kind of nice to spend time with family and get ready for Christmas. In case you can't tell, we really like Christmas a lot. We're all festive today. The Grinch and have a holly dolly part in Christmas. But yeah, it was just a good time of good food and family and quality time and kind of getting into ringing the holiday season that we both enjoy so much. So it was great.
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I think we had the same Thanksgiving. I think we were
we
together.
Did?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we had the same experience, generally speaking. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're all festive today. For those of you who don't know, I absolutely love the Grinch. I always have when I was a kid. Now I'm talking the cartoon Grinch, like the original,
not
old
like the Jim
school
Carrey
Grinch.
or like the.
I like the Jim Carrey one. I haven't seen any of the newer stuff. I'm talking about the original old Dr. Seuss Grinch, like the animated little half-hour special that would come on TV back before there was such a thing as like streaming and any of those kinds of things. When that came on the TV every single year, it was a big deal for me to know when that was coming on and to have my time set aside as a kid to watch that because it was my favorite animated Christmas really special thing that I would watch on TV. So I love the Grinch, and I relate to the Grinch sometimes.
Oh, I know you do.
Yeah.
I loathe everybody.
Yes. No, not really. I really enjoy very, very much, though, that old animated thing and kind of the message of that story and everything. So, So you guys will probably see me wearing my new Grinch oversized hoodie blanket pretty regularly for the rest of the season. So
look comfortable.
Absolutely. Well, let's see who's here today. We have our rock star moderator, Janelle, here, and she says, hello, everybody. Greetings from Chile, Wisconsin.
Ooh, hi, Janelle.
Yes, good to see you, Janelle. We appreciate you being here, helping us out. We have Donna Pope is here, Chile, Oklahoma.
Ooh.
Yes. It's very good to see you. And we have, let's see, I'm trying to get my screen all set up here so that I can see these comments a little bit better. And, okay, I guess we're just going to do it that way.
We're rolling that way.
We're just going to roll that way. All right. Always experimenting, always changing.
Always.
I love this comment from Donna, and I totally agree. It says, Ash is getting prettier every day.
Aw, Donna, you are so sweet. Thank you so much.
Yes, I completely agree with you, Donna. You are absolutely right.
It's probably my diet. Honestly, I think ketovore, and carnivore are so good for your skin and hair and nails. So you're very sweet, Donna. Thank you so much.
We were just talking before we went live that a year ago, we came out with our Santa Looks a Lot Like Daddy music video, and Ash was watching. If you guys haven't seen that, ashtaylor.com all of Ash's social medias. You'll see the link. We'd love for you to go watch that music video because
it's a fun one.
It is. We worked really hard in the studio to record all of that. We play all the guitar parts. Ash is playing some of the lead on that. I'm playing some of the lead on that. She's singing. I'm doing background vocals. And then we did this music video, most of which I filmed and edited. We had another person filming some of the stuff that I'm in, but if I'm not in it, I'm filming it, and then I edited the whole thing. It was the first time I'd ever done a music video, and we're just really proud of it. So we'd love for you guys to go see it and enjoy that for the time of year. So, but we were talking about it because she said even just since last year at Christmas, her face has changed so much. And even when you don't see a lot of change on the scale, you still see the change in your face and your body composition.
Yeah, because I've lost a couple of pounds since then, but not that much. And so I kind of have been in like a weight stall, but then I'll lose a little bit. It's a up and down kind of a thing, but I was showing like Chris and even people were commenting, it's like you can really tell a year that's gone by, the year difference. My face is a lot puffier and rounder. Yeah. Than it is today. So
absolutely.
Pretty cool.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we talk about our subject today too. So
awesome.
Lynn is here, says, "Good morning, Chris, Ash, and all of you wonderful people, plus one cute pup." Yeah, she's laying down here on the floor. Thanks, after Lynn. Being out playing fetch, and she smells like an outside dog right now.
She actually has on a Grinch little bandana too. So
yes.
Chris got it for her. So, and I think it says something about stinky, stinky, stink or something like that. I can't remember.
Stink, stank, stunk.
There you go.
From the Grinch song.
Yep.
So we are getting the dog all dressed up for Christmas too. So there's Air Frying Auntie.
Hey.
And she says, "Good morning, listening in on myself, finishing up the last hour of work." Well, Auntie, we are glad you are here. Awesome. Thank you so much. Another one of our rock star moderators.
The best.
Janelle says, "Taking a break from my Cyber Monday shopping." Well, thank you, Janelle. We've been shopping this morning as well for Cyber Monday. I think we've got all of our Christmas stuff and a couple of extra things for the kitchen done.
We did. Yeah. Lots of good deals out there for sure.
Yep.
We have a big family, so usually I start Christmas shopping in October. And with touring and all the stuff we've been doing, I have not had time. Yeah. So literally Chris and I sat down and we got it knocked out. So.
Yeah. God bless Amazon for giving us the ability to do last minute Christmas shopping. I say last minute. This is not really last minute Christmas shopping, but for us, comparatively, this is last minute because normally we're done by the end of November.
Oh, yeah.
So just because we're really intentional about that because our schedules are so weird. So that's what we've been doing this morning, though. And Janelle, I love this. Janelle says, "Waiting for my Keto Chow order. Can't wait to try Chris Cooking Nashville's funnel cake recipe." And she is a dreamboat of a moderator and dropped in the link for you guys. If you have not seen that, yes, I did a keto funnel cake using Keto Chow with their brand new flavor cake donut. And I believe today is the last day of their Black Friday / Cyber Monday deal that they're doing, where you can get an extra percentage off if your order goes over a certain amount. So my link is in the description box for Keto Chow and Salty, because they have 3 brand new flavors of Salty. We just released that video yesterday, just talking about our favorites and what they taste like and everything. Go and get yourself some Salty and Keto Chow, because if your order hits a certain amount and you get that extra discount for the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal they've got going on, you can get a little bit of extra savings there. Now's the time to do it. And you want to order that cake donut before it sells out, because that is a limited time. And as a funnel cake, it was amazing.
Oh my goodness. I actually think it's probably one of my new favorite, if not my favorite, Keto Chow flavor just in general. It is so good.
It's very good. They nailed the cake donut
They
flavor.
really did. And also, those funnel cakes literally tasted just like what the funnel cakes I would get at the fair growing up. I mean, like, no way you would know those were keto.
Yeah. Truthfully, if you think about it, the flavors of a cake donut and the flavors in a funnel cake are pretty similar. That's why I wanted to do that recipe with that flavor. But you got the powdered sugar, which has not exactly a lemony hint, but there's something about powdered sugar that has a certain flavor to it that's different.
Right.
So you get that in a funnel cake the same way you get that in a cake donut. And then the donut flavor is like a yeasty, cakey bread flavor, which they totally got in there. So that also goes right along with a funnel cake, because if you have almond flour and coconut flour, which is what I made it out of, that doesn't taste that way. So you add that flavor back in. And I mean, it worked. It tasted just like a funnel cake from a fair.
So good.
so good. Well, Rockin' Keto, Amy is here. Hello, Amy. We're glad you are here. And Stephen Stone, one of our members, is here. Good morning from Corpus Christi. Good to see you, Stephen.
Hey,
We appreciate you very much. Patricia Hoffman is here. That is a bright shirt there, Chris. Yes, it certainly is. If you guys knew me in high school, you would think this was tame. I used to walk into, like, my mom loves to shop at Kohl's. So when I was in high school, I would walk into Kohl's, be out with, like, my mom and my grandma, and we'd be shopping, especially around Christmas time. We'd be shopping, we'd walk into Kohl's, and I'd look at the men's section, and if I could walk in the front door, see all the way across the store, and see a shirt, because it was that bright, that was the one that I wanted. I wore the brightest everything I could possibly get my hands on. I have never been like a hide in the background with dull muted colors kind of person.
Nope.
I wear a lot of dull muted colors now because I'm a musician and I'm on camera, and bright colors can be difficult to work with. But sometimes I still love pulling out the bright colors. My wife has also tamed my bright color tendencies a little bit. She's like, you have to look better than that on camera.
Well, honestly though, it's Christmas. We're having fun.
Yeah, it's the season where I get to get away with it right now.
I have to say, super soft and
it's a blanket.
plushy. It's literally a blanket that you wear. So I keep asking him, I'm like, do you want to cuddle?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's comfy.
That's right. Cindy DeManch is here. Hello, Cindy. We're so glad you're here. She says, good morning. Another rock star moderator. Janelle loves the Grinch shirt. Thank you, Janelle. There's Richard Williams. Williams says, good morning, neighbors from Copper Hill, Tennessee. And Tanya is here. Good morning, Chris, Ash, and Mel.
Good morning.
Marilda is here. Good morning and hugs to all. Marilda, hugs to you, and thank you so much. And Lynn is laughing at me being the Grinch. Absolutely. Listen, I love people. I really love people. Sometimes I don't like people.
Sometimes they don't like people.
Sometimes they drive me a little crazy, and I'm a little bit like a Grinch, and I'm like, all the noise.
It's true.
Well, what are you going to do? Janelle also loves the Dolly Christmas shirt.
Well, thank you, Queen Dolly.
Yes. Jennifer Lucas is here. She says, you look like a Jedi Grinch. Yes.
Jedi Grinch.
Yes, absolutely. Do I do the whole Jedi, like hiding your hands in the arms thing, just...
Oh my gosh.
I love it. May the force be with who's.
With who's?
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. The jokes will keep coming. I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
Let's see. Everybody's asking everybody some questions here that I think have nothing to do with me. Air Frying Auntie wants to say she's loving the shirts.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you, Auntie. We appreciate
Chris
that.
and I were talking about we're going to be filming some videos and doing a bunch of different things. Clearly with Christmas now kind of being here as we're into December. So we intentionally were like, we should wear Christmas themes, like shirts, ugly Christmas sweaters, all the stuff in all of our videos and in all of our live streams. And we even got like a little miniature tree that we're going to set up to film.
Yep.
I mean, like, we just go into it, man.
Absolutely.
We're having fun.
It's my favorite time of year. It was my grandma's favorite time of year. And my grandma was a very special person in my life. And I have always loved Christmas. She always loved Christmas, decorating and just gift giving and just taking care of people and family and all these things. She loved this whole season. And it's one of the ways that she lives on.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that I honor her memory is to put as much into Christmas as she did, because I enjoy that, and it also makes me remember her. And it's a beautiful thing. So.
Absolutely.
Air Frying Auntie also says, yes, old school Grinch.
There you go.
That's the way. That is the way. Cindy has popped in the CCN studio link. If you guys did not know, if you're watching this on the main Chris Cooking Nashville channel, I have a second channel called Chris Cooking Nashville Studios. This is the link for it. It will also be in the description box down below if you're on my main channel. Please subscribe to that Studios channel, because as I'm doing interviews, as I'm doing health videos, as I'm doing these kinds of things, eventually I want to move all of them to that Chris Cooking Nashville Studios channel only. Right now I have this streaming on both, plus my Facebook page. Eventually I want to just have it on the Studios channel so that I can keep the food in one place and the health videos and interviews in another, just to give people the ability to kind of pick and choose what they like.
Yeah.
But right now, we're trying to grow that channel and let people know it's out there. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to that if you like this kind of stuff, and watch some of those videos I've done over there, because we need to get the watch hours up on that channel so that we can get everything rolling, so I can get eligible to do all the things over there I can do on the main channel too. So thank you, Cindy, for dropping that in. You rock. Tanya says, my 13-year-old granddaughter loves the Grinch as well. Makes her Christmas shopping easy.
Aw,
yes.
very sweet.
Beth Mahoney is here. Hey, y'all, catching you on the road to Florence, Kentucky to meet my besties for brunch. Everybody have a great day. Beth, I know right where Florence, Kentucky is because Florence, Kentucky is where I took guitar lessons when I was in high school, and I actually played guitar for a church over in that area for a while in Hebron when I was in college for a little while. And that's where we would always go to the mall to do our Christmas shopping when I was growing up. So I know Florence very well. So enjoy your lunch with your besties and have a wonderful day. Also, I did see your message about the electric guitar. I'm so sorry I didn't respond, but I'm glad you were enjoying it. If you have questions or issues, you let us know. So
awesome.
yeah, it's just been, I'm sorry guys if I haven't responded to an email or a message. It's been crazy trying to keep up with family, filming, editing, the Keto Chow stuff. I mean, it has been busy. Super busy.
Our house is always a nut house. It's just been a little bit nuttier. So, yeah.
It's just been
but
a while.
You know what? You're doing a great job.
Yeah. We're doing it. We're doing it. Lynn says, I had to watch the old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer every year, even if it made me cry. I still cry about it. We watch it every year, too.
Every year.
We love all the old, like, claymation, stop-motion stuff and the old animated shows and all the older Christmas stuff. Like, we listen to the classic Christmas songs, like the Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby and
Rudolph,
all the vintage stuff. That's
Rudolph,
what we're into.
Frosty. I even love to watch like old Christmas movies, like It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas. Like, I watch them every year.
Yep.
But I'm with you. When they don't let Rudolph play in the reindeer games, Lynn, I get teary-eyed.
Yeah. Yep.
Poor Rudolph.
Let's see. Beverly is here in the deep freeze Saskatchewan. Man, I bet it's cold up there compared to where we are. Patricia says it's a cute video. I totally agree. And Janelle is telling everyone, hit that thumbs up. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. Yeah, there we go. Hit the thumbs up. We appreciate you guys doing that. That just tells YouTube that this is a valuable thing. So, let's see. We have, who else is here? Lynn says, great fun video and song. And yes, you look so different now. Positive changes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Crow is here, says, good morning. Well, good morning, Crow. We're glad you're here. Deborah Cornish is here. Deborah saying hello from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada.
Awesome.
I bet it's also colder there than it is here.
Yeah.
And Air Frying Auntie says, love that video. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Addicted to Antlers is here, and she loves the Grinch clothing. Thank you so much. Lynn says Chris and Mel are twinning with the Grinch attire. Yes.
They are.
Yes. Mom is here. She says, wave if you can, because we're muted in ISS. She loves the sweatshirt. Yes. This is a good question. Marilda wants to know, Ash, have you lost any of your hair? She is losing a lot, and her husband is concerned.
You know, that is a really good question. When I was on a standard American diet, I actually lost quite a bit of hair. And then going into keto, at first it kind of continued. And then when I actually started drinking electrolytes, a lot of electrolytes. And when I also started eating a lot of fat, more fat in my diet, especially like throughout.
And bone broth with all the collagen.
Bone broth with collagen. So I would say fat, especially like I take hunks of butter throughout the day.
Yep.
Anytime Chris is cooking, anytime we can use, things like butter. I have butter in my coffee every morning, so I would say fat and butter, bone broth, and lots of electrolytes. When I started doing those three things, my hair not only stopped falling out, but my hair started to grow rapidly.
Yep.
And my nails strengthened and all that kind of stuff. So if you're experiencing that, I would ask yourself, look at those three things, bone broth, basically fat, butter in your diet, and then the electrolytes, and say, maybe I should try upping those. And it may just be that you need more of them. Clearly we're not doctors, but...
Yes, we're not doctors. We don't give medical advice, but I will also tell you from an anecdotal standpoint, something that may really help you, Marilda. Nisha Salas Berry, Dr. Berry's wife, when she went like ketovore, carnivore, she lost a bunch of hair. This is actually a pretty common thing. So I know it seems concerning, but there's no need to be concerned unless it's like some other thing coming along with it that makes it seem like more than just losing hair.
Right.
It's a very common thing, especially for women, because of how your hormones change and do different things. And what happens is you have some hair that falls out, but it will then regrow, and it takes time, but it will regrow, and it grows back thicker and healthier because it's like almost like your body has to do all of this stuff, heal, and it gets rid of like these old hairs that maybe aren't built quite as healthfully, and it goes through this whole change, and then it regrows from the beginning. So if one of the moderators would do me a favor, drop Nisha's channel link into the comments for Marilda. And Marilda, go watch Nisha's channel and specifically look for anything she has about hair and hair loss, because she has some information out there. Like, she lost a whole bunch of hair, and on live streams would be like showing people the fuzzy stuff starting to grow back in from underneath as she was going through that whole process. So I know it seems weird, but I promise, unless there's some special circumstance, it's probably nothing to be concerned about. It's probably your body shedding the old and beginning to grow the new. So it's actually a sign your body is probably doing what it's supposed to do. It's it's a thing you have to realize when your body loses weight rapidly, or when it starts flushing toxins, or any of these things it does on keto and carnivore. In the ancestral past, your body shedding all of that stuff would have been a bad thing. Because you're talking about a time when food was not plentiful, and your body doesn't know how much food is at the grocery store down the street. It just knows what's going on inside based on what you're eating. So when it flushes all of that, the first thing it does is stop giving resources to things you don't really need, like excessively thick hair, and it does things to heal and do all of this other stuff in your body. Then is it's like, okay, we're not starving, we're not in danger, like, okay, let's start working on some stuff. We're actually being nourished for the first time in maybe decades.
Yeah.
It starts to redo everything, and it goes from the beginning, and it grows everything out properly. That's why you get body recomposition. That's why you get weight loss. That's also why you hit weight loss stalls, because your body does other things that are more important than just shed the excess fat. Because in the past, in the ancestral past, losing too much weight meant you couldn't survive the winter because you didn't have the fat to feed off of.
Right.
So it was very careful about doing that. So there's a lot of things there, but go watch Nisha's channel, and if you're not part of Dr. Barry's private group, that would be another great place to go, because you could get one-on-one help from the coaches.
Lots of resources.
Maybe even Nisha herself, and they could sort of walk you through it and help ease your mind with much better, more informed medical information than what I can give you. So, but yeah, I totally understand. You're doing great, though.
Yeah. It'll be, if you can hang in there, too, it's kind of nice, because that was the thing after I did keto for, like, the first year.
Yeah.
Is, like, I stopped having, like, dead ends. And even, like, my hairdresser was like, what are you doing with your hair? Like, what product are you using? And, you know, stuff like that. And then as I've gone on, I've started to take, like, chemicals out of shampoos and things like that. And it's like, if you can hang in there, I think you'll really enjoy the benefits, though. Yeah. But, yeah, Nisha's a great resource.
Absolutely. Cindy is posting the link to the Santa Looks a Lot Like Daddy video. Thank you so much,
You're
Cindy.
So sweet. Thank you.
Auntie says, my family is getting a card that says, have a very Venmo Christmas with my code to accept. I love it.
I love that so much.
I love it. And Cindy says she's not tried the funnel cake recipe yet. It's just a matter of time. Well, Cindy, I hope you enjoy that one. It's fun. Now, you got to get your oil temperature right, because if it's too hot, it tends to kind of not stick together, and if it's too cold, it tends to turn into one big mushy lump. But, you know, that 350-ish range is good, and a couple of times doing it, no problem.
Yeah.
So it was great. It took me a couple of times of doing it to get my oil temperature set right, so the first one looks a little weird. After that, we were good. They were so good, though.
Delicious.
Lynn says, I might try your funnel cakes with one of my other flavors of Keto Chow since I don't have the new flavor yet. I bet they are wonderful. They're very good. You could use vanilla. You could probably use chocolate. You could use like a cinnamon, do almost like more of a churro flavor. Like, there'd be all kinds of things you can do.
All kinds.
So, and if I just said churro and you got excited, I have some ideas. Just saying. Stick around. Auntie says, I forgot to order more gingerbread, so may get another of those and more of the new flavor.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so good. Let's see. Everyone's saying hello to my mom. Rosemary Palmer is here, says, Hello, everyone from North Dakota. 2-degree temperature here today.
Woo!
Cold,
I just got
cold.
chills for you.
Risa here says, good morning, all. Love the Grinch sweatshirt. You two are adorable. Well, thank you, Risa. And she says, did y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving? Ours was okay. Undercooked the turkey breast and had to re-roast it for a while. Thankful for smoked turkey wings from the Ninja Wood Fire. Well, I'm sorry, Risa. But it sounds like you sidestepped and made it work. And and honestly, that's the only thing you can do in the kitchen.
That matters.
But we had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and my turkey was so good.
It was really good.
Like, I did it even better the second time than I did for the time that I did the video for. So.
I would agree with that. It was really good. We were just talking, it's like that practice, though.
Yeah.
Because by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, Chris is like, oh, I've made this before, you know? And so he kind of...
Yeah, I knew what things to sidestep, and I knew what things to kind of adjust a little bit. And, I mean, it was incredible. And, I mean, even my dad, who's made amazing turkeys my whole life, even my dad was like, that is the most moist turkey I've ever had.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so good.
Oh, amazing.
It was so good. Lynette is here. Good morning, Lynette. Thank you so much for all you do. Lynette is with Keto, Chow, and just has her own, amazing journey with keto, and is just such a lovely human being. We love Lynette, and she helps us out so much. Thank you, Lynette, for being here and for all you do. Auntie says, I have a 30-year-old tree skirt I wore as ugly Christmas sweater one year, and I won. That's great.
That's awesome.
Absolutely fantastic. Lindy is here. Good morning from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Hi, Lindy. We're so glad you are here. And C. Delisle Deaver is here. Good morning from Chile, Florida. I swear we have to have some relations somewhere. Somewhere far enough back we have to be related, because that is not a common name to ever see. So
go look at the family tree.
That's right, but we're very glad you're here. And there is Juju here.
Juju.
Good morning, friends. Struggling this morning. Concerts on a school night are rough. I saw your Facebook post. It looked fantastic. But Mimi was worth it, and my kiddo's smiling face was even better. Aww. I'm so glad you are here and that you guys had a good time, even if you were out late on a school night.
I'm sure they'll remember that, though, for years and years to come. That's so
the
cool
memories
y'all got to do that.
Are so important. Let's see. Risa says it is 31 and sunny here in western New Jersey. Pulled out a coat for the first time yesterday.
Whew.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Island Joni is here, says just subscribe to your other channel. Well, thank you so much. That makes such a huge difference for us. We appreciate it. And let's see, here is a Facebook comment. We're starting to get people watching on Facebook as well, which is amazing. If you're watching on Facebook, please let us know, because I want to make sure it's actually worth streaming this to Facebook too. But Ann Myers is here, says, good morning. We just moved to Tennessee from Florida. It's cold in Florida this weekend too, so we don't feel like we made too bad of a decision. Well, I'm so glad you're in Tennessee. What part of Tennessee did you guys move to? I'm curious if we're neighbors or if you're like on the other end of the state from us or something.
Yeah.
Ann Myers also says, thanks for the hair loss help.
Oh,
absolutely. Amy is saying, I'm losing hair right now. I've had a hysterectomy in January 2021, turning 49 in March. My weight is great. I'm not losing any, not gaining, but I'm starting menopause. I'm very concerned. I'm ketovore. Amy, I understand. I totally get it. You're going through a bunch of hormonal things that as a man I have zero understanding of. I will say that first of all. But I also think that you would probably benefit from watching Nisha and watching Sally Norton and watching Dr. Elizabeth Bright. And there's several other people like that, females in the space, maybe Steak and Butter Gal Bella. Go watch all of those women, because they are going to understand you going through this way more than someone like me, or even Dr. Barry for that matter. They're going to understand it a lot better, and they have great tips. Dr. Bright especially talks about women and menopause and what they need to do with like carnivore or ketovore stuff. Fantastic information, and I totally get why you might feel concerned, but based on what all of them say, it's pretty normal, and they have tips to help it make it a smooth thing.
Yeah, Chris and I talk about this all the time too. I think men hormonally are basically the exact same every single day. I mean, they're on every 15 minutes they kind of adjust their hormones, and so guys don't have to deal with a lot of the same thing. Us women, on the other hand, we change every second of every day, and we're always always changing, and we have, every week our body is doing something different hormonally. So especially with a hysterectomy, you're turning 49, you have all of these things going on. These are just, that's just a hormone issue straight up. So I think knowledge and kind of listening to some doctors like Chris mentioned would be so helpful for you. But I think ladies just have to realize we have so much going on with our bodies. We are very complicated compared to our husbands or, other men in the space. So go listen to some great females and check them out. But I don't think you should be concerned, though. I think you just need to realize that there's not a lot of women in the space, truthfully. There's some great ones, but it's a lot of guys that are doing carnivore. So come here for help if you need it with all the lady stuff. And like I said, Nisha's such a great example. But
absolutely,
just remember we have hormones and different things that guys don't, and we're on a different scale than they are. So
absolutely, I think we're going to be doing a video. And I will not be the expert in this video. We're going to be doing a video discussing like women's health as it relates to keto or carnivore, and things that maybe I don't feel like are talked about very much that we've been finding out. And as we've been doing more deep dive research, like Ash is really looking at this kind of stuff for how it would affect her diet and what she's been going through. And we're going to get some information from experts who actually are deeply into the understanding of why women's bodies do this stuff. And we're going to try to get some information, put it together for you guys, and put it out there, because women need access to information like that.
Yeah, and I think clearly we know women's bodies are different than men's, which is honestly a beautiful thing. It's great that, men can be so stable, and that, this is the way that they are. I know that I appreciate those things about my husband. But as women, it's like, we're just kind of always changing. Yeah. And the other thing is, depending on your age and where you're at, your body, our bodies keep changing.
Right.
And guys are just the same way pretty much for the most part all the way through, where women, as we hit into adulthood and all that, we have different needs depending on what stage we are in life hormonally. And I think it's something that's just not talked about. And therefore, I think things like losing hair or, things, it's like, it's scary because it's like, well, what's wrong with me? Or, some people I've heard this before where they're like, well, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, well, you're not doing anything wrong. There's just not a lot of info out there that explains, as a woman at, this age and this point in your life, what your body is doing hormonally that's causing X, Y, and Z. And so it's a natural thing. But again, thank you for the question. And if you have concerns, put them down below. And if we don't have an answer, we'll try to point you to someone who does.
Yep. Absolutely. Also, for all of the women out there, if you're going into a Facebook group or a YouTube channel or any of this kind of stuff, and there's a guy who's telling you you're struggling with something, and there's a guy telling you, well, you just need to eat meat, you just need to do this, you just need to do that, you can stop listening immediately, because there's a bunch of men out there who think they know something about something, and they don't know crap. So
preach it. Get
the info from a woman who is truly versed in the information you need. And even if guys mean well, there's a lot of them out there that arrogantly think they know what it's like to be a woman, and I have no idea where they ever got that idea, but there are a bunch of guys in the keto and carnivore world that think they know something they don't. And this is why if you watch doctors like Dr. Barry and Dr. Chafee and Dr. Kiltz and all these people, a lot of times they'll tell you, I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I can tell you medically what I understand because of the textbooks, but I can't tell you from experience what this is actually like. And they tend to defer to the women in the space who know more. So just remember that. Juju says she got 1.5 pound ground beef yesterday. Ooh. May have bought 12 pounds, 80-20, more fat than I usually buy, but $3 a pound savings. I will figure it out.
There you go.
I always buy the really high fat stuff because I think it just tastes better, and it's usually cheaper, and it makes us happy. So I love the higher fat beef. I get the 73-27 when I can.
Yeah.
So, Juju says, rockin' keto Amy, when I had my hysterectomy, mine did that too. That's normal due to tons of hormones slamming on the brakes in your body.
Yeah.
See, there you go. A woman with friends who has been through it. Goodness gracious, the great Ken Berry has dropped in on Facebook to say hello, friends. Hello, Dr. Berry. I appreciate you jumping in and saying hi. And I hope you like my Grinch sweatshirt. I wore it just for you today. Oh, goodness. Your ears must have been burning. We were talking about you and Nisha, and specifically some of the women that are here who might have some questions about hair loss and hormones, and how you have some great medical info, and Nisha has some actual personal experience, and between the two of you in the private group, they can get some amazing information. And I don't know if we've gotten to a chance to ever tell them, but Nisha giving you some information when you did that month of carnivore, and just Dr. Barry and Nisha both putting out info has really made a huge difference for you with some of the things that you've done as you're continuing your N=1 experiment.
Absolutely.
And kind of figuring out how to make this all work. So
absolutely, it's helpful to have information. I mean, knowledge is power, you know. And it's like we have so many ladies alone in the comments that are talking about, you know, I'm experiencing this. Is this normal? Or, you know, what about this? And oh, I had the same thing happen. And, you know, it's scary though. I mean, to wake up and have your hair falling out, or, you know, you're trying to figure out like, well, man, why can't I seem to get this or that? It's a lot. And so I think just people that put out information like this. I mean, this is why we're sitting in the chair this morning talking about this. It's like it's just so helpful, and just knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Speaking of knowledge is power, Holly Springer says hair loss that includes losing eyebrows can be a symptom of a thyroid issue, which a doctor should be consulted. I'm a retired nurse with thyroid issues. So, see, this is a really good example of what I'm talking about. So if you're losing hair and it's just coming out of your head and you're all concerned about it, there may be nothing to be concerned about.
Right.
If, on the other hand, you're losing hair, but then you notice your eyebrows have also disappeared, well, then maybe there is something further. And maybe that's your thyroid fixing itself. Maybe it's an issue with your thyroid a doctor needs to help you with. I don't know, because, again, I'm not a doctor, and Dr. Barry would know way more about how to help you diagnose those things or what to do with those things. Even he doesn't give you medical advice online because, we can't do that. You have to be in a patient-doctor relationship for someone to help you. But we can put out information that might give you the tools to say, well, this is a thing that might be happening. This is a thing. Let me talk with a doctor, and then I can make an informed decision. And if it's something I don't need to be concerned about, like Marilda's saying her husband is concerned, you might be able to alleviate his concern by saying, no, see, here's what's probably going on in my body based on all this information. I'm going to talk to a doctor. They agree there's no issue with my thyroid, whatever, and you can alleviate your husband's concerns and keep just forging on through that keto carnivore way of life.
Another thing that might be helpful too, and by the way, Holly, thank you for that, which is awesome. It's always great to hear like from a nurse's perspective and someone that also has thyroid issues. But something too I just thought of is iodine. And I know that Dr. Barry and a lot of other people have amazing videos out there talking about the importance of iodine.
Yes, Dr. Barry did an interview with, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, I'm so sorry, but Dr. Barry did an interview that was all about the power of iodine, and because of that, this is why Ash and I are drinking each 10 drops of this iodine a day now, and I'll be honest, it has made a huge difference for me. It really, really has. So, we're going to our iodine daily, but I'm sorry, please continue.
No problem at all. I was just going to say though, iodine, because if you are having like thyroid issues, plus, I mean, there's so many health benefits to it. And I honestly think that most women, especially with our hormones, are deprived of iodine. Yeah. And so I would really encourage it. And I don't know if any of our moderators know the video that we're talking about. Go drop the link though to Dr. Barry's video of that, because when I started drinking iodine, I noticed that hormonally it really helped like smooth things out for me, and I noticed that started a whole list of different health benefits. So I would say though, like if you're struggling with hair loss, it sounds hysterectomies and all that, like you're putting your body in a shock and your hormones are just going wild as women. And so I mean, this is just how our body reacts. So it sucks, and unfortunately like this is it, but I think you should probably go see your doctor, get tested if you're really that concerned. But if not, maybe just try extra electrolytes, more fat, like we were talking about. More bone broth, and then
lots of protein,
iodine. You can get a bottle on Amazon. What's the brand that we buy?
Oh, I mean, there's a couple of different ones, but like J. Crow's is one of the brands that usually is the cheapest. It's basically Lugol's 2% iodine, and you can have a test done and figure out like what your iodine levels are and how much you might need. Dr. Barry, again, has great info and has interviewed people with great info on this. Dr. Bright, I believe, also talks about like the combination of how powerful butter and iodine is for women.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Like, there's information on those channels that will give you a lot of useful information on that, and then you can go buy that iodine, and we just put it in our coffee. I mean, anything that you want, you could, honestly, if you were making scrambled eggs, you could put a couple of drops of iodine in your scrambled eggs. I mean, like, it's so easy to get it in, you won't even know it's there.
My mom actually, just a good example, so my mom was actually on thyroid medication, and her thyroid hasn't worked properly for years and years and years. And so, we kind of got her into doing kind of like keto and, you know, different things like that. And so
I was sending her Dr. Berry videos.
Yep. And we were trying to encourage her. And so she did. She started to implement a little bit at a time. But one of the things that was really easy for her was iodine.
Yep.
And so I sent her the video where they were going and breaking it down. She goes, I'm going to do that. So she bought iodine, and she's been using it now for a number of months. And so they finally took her off her doctor. She went to her doctor. They took her off her thyroid medication.
You don't need it.
She doesn't need it anymore. So, and her hair and her nails and all that are growing, and she feels a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just tell talking to her.
She made the comment on the phone the other day to you. She was like, I just feel so level and so stable and so calm.
And, you know, clearly my mom just turned 64 2 days ago, actually. So, you know, being an older lady, and I mean, she's had 5 kids.
Yep. Happy belated birthday, Care.
Yeah, so she's watching this. But yeah, I mean, you know, to me, that was a really great example with my mom being, you know, an older lady, 64 years old. And it's like she's had these issues my entire life. And all I've seen them do, my mom has had a lot of health problems, and they just keep giving her pill after pill after pill.
Yep.
And when she started to implement little things like just iodine, it's like we're getting her off medication.
Absolutely.
She's a lot more, I mean, you can just tell talking to her. I mean, she has a light and a joy that she didn't have 6 months ago.
Yep.
So
I also remember she was doing things like hair extensions because of thinning hair.
Her
and
hair,
she's dealt with that for years and years and years.
Years and years, yep.
Thyroid issues, thin hair.
Yep.
I mean, you know, you can see how things are attached. And suddenly it's like all of this stuff is beginning to get better. Now, I don't know if she's at a point where her hair has significantly thickened up yet, but she's also new into this.
It's also,
way of
though,
life.
gotten to a point, I can tell you, because she talked to me about this. She actually, this was about a year ago, so that was kind of about the time she started to clean up her diet and her act.
Yeah.
She actually got rid of her hair extensions. So my mom, for the past year, has had her natural hair because it literally started to grow back as she cleaned up her diet. So no, she was able now to have natural hair, and it looks great. I just saw her at the wedding. So
it's almost like a proper human diet lets your body heal itself and go back to the state it should be in, and you can save your life with little changes.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's, you know, again, the knowledge is power. And I mean, think of how many women, though, like my mom, who, you know, my mom has a corporate job, wants to look their best. I mean, we're women. We want to look pretty. Like, we want to do our thing.
And the reality is, be it right or wrong, we live in a world where people look at you and make a judgment. I mean,
it's
I
true.
totally understand. You know, I when I'm wearing a Grinch sweatshirt, I know that people are going to look at that and make a judgment. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we just don't care. We just don't care.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, great info.
Yeah.
Great info.
Absolutely.
Deborah Cornish is here, and she says, hubby is elk hunting, and I'm decorating. It is quite mild here. Haven't had any snow yet.
Aw, that sounds lovely, though.
That sounds amazing. Man, I wish I was out elk hunting with her husband.
You want to take him? I'll help you
Telling
decorate.
you what, we fill the freezer with some elk meat.
Yeah.
And I would be all about that.
But you know who would probably love elk meat? Is Mel, our puppy dog.
This little dog.
We have some venison in the freezer that's a little freezer burnt, so but I sometimes put that in her puppy food, and oh my gosh, she loves it. She goes nuts.
Yeah, for sure. Marilda says, you are precious, Ash and Chris. Thank you so much. Love you both. Marilda, we love you,
too.
And you are so welcome. Well, listen, we're all here to support each other. I have great info, but sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about, and I need other people to have great info, and we rely on you guys. We rely on Dr. Barry and Nisha. We rely on other creators in this space. Like, we're all in this together.
I think it's really important to remember, like, where you started and where you come from, and I think you need to realize, like, Chris and I are not at our ideal body weights yet or where we would like to be, but we're constantly working on it.
Yeah.
But, like, we were once 400 pounds, you know, and struggling with anxiety and depression and all of these things. And I didn't have, when I was on a standard American diet, I did not have a period for over a year. Like, my body was wrecked.
Yeah.
And so when we started making all these changes and stuff, we had to rely on people like Dr. Barry and Nisha, and I mean the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
We had to go find this information for ourselves, and now we've done it for a number of years to where it's like we have literally learned what does work, what doesn't work, and so we're literally just sitting here trying to help. And sometimes,
and we're still learning and just showing you our journey along the way as we get better.
Absolutely. But these are the kind of subjects though that Chris and I were talking about with like women's hair loss and hormones and all that. We would actually maybe like to try and tell us what you guys think in the comments. We would actually like to try to maybe shine more of a light on that. And maybe because we kind of maybe feel, at least in my opinion, like these things should be talked about more. Because I think it would help a lot more women where it's already harder for us to lose weight and harder for us to do certain things because of just how our bodies are designed. To actually lose weight and feel our best and look our best. And so I think shining a light on sharing some of this info with the ladies may actually help. So tell us what you think in the comments if that's something you would like us to do and something you'd like us to spotlight on.
Definitely. Lisa Nix is here, says, when are you going to open a restaurant, Chris? I live in the Nashville area. Well, hello, Lisa.
Cool.
If you ever want to grab some carnivore or ketovore lunch, you just let us know. We would love to meet up with you. If you want to be in a video as a taste tester, let us know because you don't have to drive very far. I get this question a lot. When are you going to open a restaurant? And truthfully, here's the answer that I know is just never satisfying for people. But the truth is, it is very expensive to open a restaurant because you have to have millions of dollars in startup money for the gear and the staff and the licensing and the marketing and the legal elements and the product development and I mean all of the auxiliary costs. Like it's very, very expensive in any part of the country, let alone in Nashville, where real estate is out of control because of just what has happened here. I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to begin thinking about starting a restaurant here unless I had somewhere between $3 and $5 million. And if I had $3 and $5 million, I would not spend as much time trying to build my YouTube channel to make the money I need to support our family as I do. I would still put out good info, but I probably would be like more intentional about each video instead of getting so many of them out constantly. I just don't have $3 to $5 million or even anything close to that. So it's very expensive. On top of that, the problem with something like a keto or carnivore restaurant, and you guys have to realize this is why we have to take power into our own hands. There is a very small sector of the United States right now that is willing to go to a restaurant that is specifically catering to keto and carnivore people. I'm not saying that I don't want to see that happen. Eventually, I'd love to see that happen. I'd love for there to be better options. But it is very hard to make it in the restaurant industry as it is. And then when you start making it for a smaller and smaller and smaller group of people, I mean, it becomes almost impossible. So until things change with the landscape of sort of our culinary view in the West, it's probably just not going to be a thing.
And I'd like to add on to that too, just so that you fully understand like where we're coming from with that. Back in the day, in our Standard American Diet days, Chris and I actually owned a bakery here in Nashville. So when we say, hey, this is what it costs, and this is what it takes, and these are our findings. We know. We know. We've tried. And honestly, though, the other thing, too, is the cost that it would cost you guys to come eat at that restaurant for us to even break even and all that.
It'd be $75 to $100 a person, probably, for just a standard dinner. And people don't want to have to pay that. No. I don't, certainly.
However, though, Lisa, like Chris said, if we may not have a restaurant, but if you want to get in touch with us, info@chriscookingnashville.com. Shoot us an email, and if you're in Nashville, if you're in the area, if you live here, come on over, and Chris will make you dinner, and you can be a taste tester in a video. We've been doing that with a lot of people that watch the channel, and it's so fun. But no restaurant, but you are more than welcome to come over to our home, and we will be happily make you dinner.
Absolutely. I feel like my calling is to feed people from my own home and to teach people how to feed themselves.
Yes.
To feed people on a corporate level just has so many hoops to jump through, and it's so hard to make that happen, let alone when you add in now it's going to be keto and carnivore. I mean, it's a whole extra layer, and I would love to see it happen, but we're just not at a point where, not that I would never do it, but we're just not anywhere now. We're just not anywhere close to having the resources or the culinary climate where that would be a feasible thing.
Sure.
So, but I know that's not the answer people want, but I wish I could give a better one, but it's just the truth right now.
Yeah.
And he has a question, what kind of thermometer to check the oil temp? Still need to watch the video. So you can get different kinds. You can get like a candy thermometer that just sticks to the side of a pot. What I like is actually an instant read thermometer. And there's a number of them out there. They all do basically a good job. I actually have one from Thyroid that I'm going to be doing a video with, an Instapro. But you can get any kind of an instant read thermometer. You can go to Amazon and find them. Just type in instant read thermometer. That is the best because it within 2 seconds will tell you what the temperature of your oil is, and you can kind of swish it around in there and look at it and see what the general temperature of your whole pan of oil is.
Right.
So beef tallow, bacon grease, lard, avocado oil, if you're into that kind of thing, ghee, those are the ones that I like to fry in. So great question. She says I have a probe thermometer. You can make a probe thermometer work. It's a lot slower. So an instant read, they're not very expensive, and an instant read is a fantastic tool to have in the kitchen. Patricia makes a good point, and Keto Chow has amazing customer service. They do. Wonderful,
very true.
Wonderful people. Jonathan thinks this hoodie makes me look like I'm 500 pounds. Jonathan, your picture makes you look like you probably shouldn't be here. Can't be kind, then you can find the door. Lynette says, heading to Branson, Missouri tonight for a week of Christmas musicals and shows, planning to stay strong with the eating. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I went to Branson, Missouri when I was a little girl, and I absolutely loved it. So that sounds amazing, Lynette. We hope you have a great time, and wishing you all the best, staying strong with the eating. That's awesome. So let us know how it goes, and if you have all of that, that's awesome.
Yep. Cranky Carnivore is here. I love that.
I love that handle, yeah.
What a great handle. Cranky Carnivore Cutler. Air frying anti-healing. I use an instant read thermometer by ThermoWorks. ThermoWorks has a great product. In fact, I think that's the one that I have stuck to the side of the fridge.
I was going to say, didn't your dad get that for you?
I think so,
Yeah.
That's a great one. Any of those like instant read thermometers are so great. Shauna, a candy thermometer would be best, but what temps are on your probe? If it's 300 to 400, then there you're good. So yeah, you can use a candy thermometer. The probe would work. It's just going to be attaching it to the side of the pan or figuring out how you're going to read it. It's a little inconvenient, but it works. Jonathan, no hate. I know you're doing great, just hiding your progress. Okay, well, commenting on my weight is not being kind, Jonathan. So, guys, this is one of the things I'm saying. We do not need to be criticizing something like you're not wearing the right kind of shirt to show your progress. Mm-hmm. That's not being a part of a supportive community. I don't know what Jonathan is trying to say or what his intentions are about this kind of stuff, but we don't talk to each other that way. There's no need. This is not how we behave because you guys deserve support from each other. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, I think we deserve support from our community. And if I choose to wear a Grinch sweatshirt that makes me happy because it's comfortable, I think that's okay. I
think you're wearing a fun, festive, super comfy blanket t-shirt and we're just having a good time.
Yeah.
So walking up and saying it makes you look like you're 500 pounds doesn't really matter. It doesn't really motivate.
Yeah.
And it's like
it's not the point of why we're here. So
and everyone is always welcome here, but you don't want to be that way. Also, there was a day that when Chris was 400 pounds and he was dealing with anxiety and depression, if you were to say the slightly most negative thing to him, it would literally put him in a spiral to where he would lose it.
Yep.
And then to cope, would go eat Twinkies
yep.
and Mountain Dew and whatever. And so this is why we put our foot down. It's not that we're trying to be mean,
right.
But don't come on and don't call someone saying, man, you look like you're 500 pounds. You're hiding your progress. He doesn't need to hide his progress. Like,
right.
Let the man wear a comfy sweatshirt and do his live stream
yep.
and enjoy, like, the fun thing that we're trying to do here and encourage and support others.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you can't walk around saying that to people. If Chris
right.
was where he was a couple years ago, he right now would be heading down to the kitchen and making his situation worse. So that's
yep.
why we put our foot down and we don't tolerate that, I can't cuss, that kind of bull on this channel.
Yes. So, Yeah.
You stand up for others because they can't stand up for themselves.
Yeah, we're going to leave that where it is, and if you can't be nice and you can't realize that that's inappropriate to make that what it's all about and how that's all about your own ego, then we will just block you. So
also, I don't think my husband needs to wear tight shirts that show his progress or whatever online.
Yeah, I don't, well, and quite honestly, I don't really think as a person who's trying to help people that I have to try to live up to someone else's expectations to prove that I look a certain way.
No.
I don't think that's why we're here. And quite honestly, I don't think average people can relate to that.
Nope.
So...
And we are. Know. We're just average people that are literally trying to help other people.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's move on.
I'm a real human being, and that's the way it works.
That's right.
This is a really cool thing. Risa, talking about the Keto Chow customer support, says, yes, they do have great support. Could not get my order processed on their website on Thursday and have had to make a call to customer service. In 5 minutes, it was done.
Wow.
They're the best I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
They're really great people.
We got to hang out with them.
They really, really are.
We got to hang out with them at KPL. I went to dinner with the whole crew one night. And, like, they are seriously, like, all of them are just, like, the best people. So,
yes,
absolutely. Does not surprise me.
Absolutely. Sergey is here. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. I'm just having my new KitchenAid delivered because of seeing your bread recipe. Thank you for being such a chef in the carnivore world. You are welcome, and thank you for watching and supporting.
Yeah.
And if you have any trouble with that recipe, it can take a couple of times to get it right. So if you have trouble, send me a message, send me an email, whatever it is, and I will make sure to help you so you can nail it because it's a great recipe.
And the email, if you do want to just send that to him, is info@chriscookingnashville.com.
Yep, absolutely. I was surprised to see another Delisle, as it is not a common name. I hail from Massachusetts. Happy to have found you both, as you both are encouraging on this journey, and you both look great. Well, thank you so much. I'm surprised to see it, too. And I bet if we would go back far enough, my family comes from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan because they came down from the French-Canadian element up there in Canada because they had come across from France. So I bet anything we go far enough back, and there probably is a point where it all joins up, and we're probably from the same family line somewhere. So, very cool.
Small world.
Lynette says, Amy, you and I are the same age, and I'm in the same boat with hysterectomy and hair loss and everything else. Girl, we've got this. Yes, that's how we support each other. I love that. I love that. Lolo is here. Lolo Carter. Good morning, Chris and Ash. I talked about meeting you guys at KPL, about your amazing recipes, to your daughter-in-law, about your amazing recipes. I got her to start keto. She's enjoying it so far. I'm so glad. Well, see, this is what Dr. Berry was talking about at KPL.
Yes.
Of take this information and go change your family and friends' lives.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Congratulations, Lolo,
so
and congratulations to your daughter-in-law for enjoying keto so far.
Yeah.
I'm so glad she's on the journey, and we would love to hear as her success continues.
Send us updates. It also was great meeting you in person at KPL. That's so awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Marilda sent us a $19.99 super chat. Marilda, you are a sweetheart. You guys have no idea how much that means to help us support the channel, and we just love you guys, and we're so glad we can do all of this. Thank you so much.
That seriously really is so helpful.
Thank you. It means so much to us, and we never expect it, but we just really appreciate the support that our community shows. So
absolutely.
Janelle has a great piece of information here. YouTubers for women: Sally Norton, Elizabeth Bright, Nisha Berry, Ken Berry, and Steak and Butter Gal.
There you go.
Absolutely, and those are amazing resources for all people, but especially for women who might be having these questions.
Yeah.
So, love it.
Love it.
Amy says, thank you, Juju, and thank you, Chris and Ash, for the recommended channels. I will check them out. Excellent.
Sweet.
Excellent. Let's see. Lynn says, your white bread recipe. I'm Porky Pigging it out here. Your white bread recipe is just the bomb. I do so much with it. This time I added pina colada keto chow and had to sub coconut milk for whipping cream. I was out. It worked. Yum. That sounds great.
Lynn, my mouth is like drooling right now. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
So good.
Loretta is here and says, I listened to a podcast a while ago. I think it was Dr. Bright that said butter fixes hormones.
Very true.
I bet you're right because she talks about that with women and their health, and I think that is a wonderful, wonderful resource for women who are going through this.
Yeah, no, it really is. And, you know, I have to say, too, Chris was actually the one that sent me a couple of different things with Dr. Bright and all
Mm-hmm.
that. And when she says that butter fixes hormones, that's one of the things that completely changed
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
That's why I eat as much butter today. And
Yep.
I mean, I'm telling you, ladies, if you're not, butter is your friend. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Truthfully, I mean, it's made a difference even for me.
Yeah.
Like, there was a time where I was experiencing some anxiety and like insomnia as a result because I was
Yes.
working so much. My cortisol levels were just out of control, and I would take a chunk of butter, like I was doing browned butter bites because she was doing it.
Yep.
I started doing it too. We would eat it like 30 minutes before bed.
Yep.
1, 2, even 3 of them.
Yeah.
And it helped me sleep better.
It does. It helps you sleep better, your mood. I mean, there's so many benefits to it.
Yep, absolutely. Everybody's saying hello to Dr. Barry when he dropped into the chat here.
Sweet.
And let's see. Kate says, made your carnivore mash for Thanksgiving. Such a hit. I can't tell if you're a wizard or a genius or maybe a bit of both. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm either of those things. I was very blessed to have an idea that worked very, very well. So, also, Steak and Butter Gal, Bella, did a review of that recipe for a
She
Thanksgiving
did.
special thing
Yeah.
that she did. If you guys haven't seen that, you should go check it out. Maybe one of the moderators can drop that in if they haven't already. It was a huge honor to get a shout out from Steak and Butter Gal. So
Aw.
it was very, very
It was
cool.
a great video too.
Yeah.
And I think it was her husband that was in it.
Yep.
It was super cute.
We're
I
looking
loved
forward
it.
to meeting them at Meatstock 2025 as well. If you guys
Yeah.
didn't know, Meatstock 2025 is happening May 15th through the 19th, I believe it is.
Yeah, something
I think
like
it's
that.
15th through the 19th, coming up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I think there are still tickets available for the weekend convention. Go to meatstock2025.com and you can just look at the flyer on all of the Meatstock social medias and you can see how many powerhouse people are speaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be unbelievable. Now, that being said, yours truly, the redneck in the Grinch sweatshirt, somehow got asked to do a presentation as well. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a presentation on beef and some cooking demonstration. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be really fun.
Would love to see you guys there if you were free. Reese's Cluttered Kitchen. I cannot believe my eyes. Dr. Barry, yes, I am very blessed to have the support of people like Dr. Barry and Nisha. And my channel would not be what it is. And quite honestly, I would not be what I am as a YouTuber or honestly even just physically. I know I look like I'm apparently 500 pounds, but there's a lot of extra space. See, I'm not actually 500 pounds underneath it.
It's a family show.
I'm not flashing anything but a Telecaster. It's all good. Yeah, I'll show you my Telecaster.
Show you my Telecaster.
I'll show you my Telecaster. The YouTube algorithm is probably like trying to figure out what's going on.
But you know what? I'm sorry, I have to interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
This is such a great example. So there was a day that even if I or anyone else said something slightly negative to you when you
Yeah.
were 400 pounds and struggling,
Yeah.
you would just collapse and go on an emotional eating spree.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
because I
saying-
had zero self-worth. I thought I was nothing. I thought it was
Yep.
all my fault.
yep.
And I looked in the mirror and hated what I saw. And I was so brain fogged and anxiety ridden and depression just crippled.
Like,
that-
I don't think you guys understand that, like, the Chris that
No.
you see in front of you, like, I'm his wife. Like, I was with him for all of this. We were dating, and
Yeah.
I literally was like, I don't know if I can marry him, because I don't think he's going to live to see 35,
Mhm.
and I don't know if I can handle all that would have to go with having
The
someone
emotional ups and downs.
who won't get out of bed because
Yeah.
they're so depressed, someone who won't do this. So the fact that, like, that guy came on, and again, nothing against him, hopefully he kind of gets our point here and he understands, but it's like that someone can come on and tell him, man, that looks like you're 500 pounds and you're
Right.
not showing your progress. And the fact that he would now laugh about it
Yeah.
and start to make jokes and all that kind of stuff, that is a very different reaction to that
Yeah.
kind of situation than he had a couple years ago.
I'm a completely different person. than
And
I
that
was.
shows, though, your mental clarity,
Yeah.
your self-confidence, your self-worth. Like, look at the
Yep.
things because you've changed your diet
Yep.
and your lifestyle. Like, look
Yep.
at what you're able to do.
It's also the reason I'm so passionate about when I see people doing that kind of stuff, whether they mean it or not. I point it out and I say, no, we
Yeah.
don't do this, because there are people out there just like I was who see that kind of stuff in comment sections, and if you don't address it, those people think, oh, well, I wonder if that's real. I wonder if maybe you actually are 500 pounds, you're hiding something. I wonder, like, your brain will go to ridiculous
these
places because
yeah.
you are so brain fogged and so confused about all of this because your brain is toxic, full of all the junk you've been eating. You can't see that stuff clearly. I know what those people are going through because I went through it. And honestly, I was headed down a path where I would probably have ended myself.
Yeah.
Legitimately. And it's like, I don't know. We don't do that because people need to know they're supported and that it doesn't matter what they choose to wear. Maybe they're comfortable wearing a big baggy shirt that looks like they're 500 pounds because they were 500 pounds and they still don't have a self-positive body image to where they think that they can show what they actually look like.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people here, now you got me on a track. I don't know if we all have realized this, but the economy is not in the greatest of places right now.
Right.
The cost of groceries and all this, I mean, you know, a lot of people are having a hard time making ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're changing your diet and you're doing your thing and you're losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone has the money to just go out and buy new clothes.
Right.
So maybe they're having to wear the baggier, bigger clothes even though they've lost weight because maybe they can't afford it.
Right.
So think before you open your damn mouth. Seriously.
There we go.
Is that positive? Is it encouraging? Is it motivating?
And, you know, this is a point I made with Ash the other day. I've had a few people say stuff to me kind of along those lines. Mm-hmm. And then I go back and I professionally but politely put them in their place. And then they'll say things like, well, Dr. Chafee says, Dr. Barry says, this person says, that person says. And I think a lot of people miss the point. When Dr. Barry or Dr. Chafee or Dr. Baker or whoever, when they say things like, you need to stop doing blah, 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 and you need to realize you got to be an adult. You got to grow up. You can't have sweet tastes in your mouth every single day. They're saying things bluntly, but as a blanket statement to people, they are not singling a certain person out and attacking them.
Right.
It's a very different thing, and they're doing it because they're saying it in a blunt way to get people to pay attention, to finally understand you have the power to change your own life. And these are things that you have been brainwashed to believe you need daily. You don't need those things. But then people who hear them say that stuff come into a comment section and single out a certain person, and I'm going to attack you for this thing you're not doing right because so-and-so said. That's a completely different behavior. And that's the reason that I put my foot down about that stuff. Mm-hmm. Because Dr. Barry saying all of those things that he said saved my life. Mm-hmm. A person coming in a comment section and commenting on how I look or that I'm fat or that I've done this or that I've done that wrong or whatever it is, because I get all kinds of it, that doesn't help. That doesn't change anything. That doesn't motivate me. That doesn't save my life. That doesn't inspire me. None of that matters. And that's the difference. And that's why I am here for all of you who may or may not struggle with those kinds of things to know you're not alone. I have been there, and I love you just the way you are, and I want to inspire you to take where you are today and improve it and make one step better tomorrow. And if that means that you still wear this baggy shirt because you still don't have a body image of yourself that you're willing to show the progress you've made, that's totally fine.
Maybe it's Christmas and you just want to wear comfy sweatshirts.
Yeah, maybe this just feels like wearing a blanket, and maybe even though I'm a big guy who is like, you know, beard and manly and eats steaks and all of that, maybe I like a snuggly Grinch blanket every now and then.
I do. Yeah.
Also, Ash said when I wear this, she's like, hey, can I cuddle up to you?
Yeah.
I have ulterior motives, friends. I married the woman, okay? I like being around her. I like when she's close to me. This makes me happy, okay?
Like, how do you get your wife? I feed her steak and I wear a Grinch blanket as a shirt.
Guys, if you are out there watching this and you're single or you're dating somebody, or even if you're married and you're trying to get your wife to be, you know, a little bit more like cuddly with you or whatever, I'm going to give you a tip. Here's how you make a woman happy. You feed her good food and wear something fuzzy and put your arms around her and make her happy.
This is all true.
That's it.
This is all true.
That is the secret. That is the hard thing you got to figure out how to do.
There you go.
Sherry is here, says I'm late, but this is because y'all get up way too early for this girl. LOL. Good morning, all. I hear you, Sherry. That's all right.
We feel it some days too.
That's right. That's right. And Janelle makes a really good point here. She says, thank you, Patricia Hoffman. Those YouTube people are often guest speakers, so look beyond their channels.
Definitely.
Yes, absolutely. They'll be on other channels. Sometimes they have their own channels, but sometimes they do stuff like Dr. Barry interviews Dr. Bright, or Steak and Butter Gal collaborates with this person. Like, there's all these different things. You can find all this stuff, but look for those people's names on their own channels or on other channels, and you will find amazing stuff. Also, Dr. Elizabeth Bright's book, for women's hormones, and the link is right there for you guys. Amazing. I have not read it, but I know other people that I trust who have read it say it's amazing, and that's a great resource, I'm sure.
It's so amazing. Yeah, she is just so full of knowledge.
Yep. Rock and Keto Amy says, I take Lugol's iodine every day because of Dr. Barry.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely. Us too. Crystal says, I'm also seeing hair loss, not eyebrows. Awesome. So that's probably a sign that maybe there's not a huge issue there. Go do the research, watch Nisha, watch some other women who have information, and maybe there's no reason to be concerned.
Yeah. And maybe, like I said, maybe try some of the things we've talked about.
Yep.
Implement those, and you might see the hair loss go away.
Absolutely. Sherry says, I lost all my hair from a bad chemical reaction to hair color and psoriasis meds. That was 20 years ago. Wore wigs and extensions for 15 years. I started low carb, same time, and it all grew back.
Oh, that's awesome. What a testament.
Amazing. If you guys have a similar story where you started low carb diets and something like that improved your hair or something else, put it in the comments so other people can go watch the chat and they can see the stuff. You guys are the inspiration that changes people. It's not me and my I'm not 500 pounds thing. It is you guys who are going to inspire people to change because you're real people just like they are.
Right.
And they see someone like me as a YouTuber. Maybe I'm real to them. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. People have different views on that.
Yeah.
I'm just putting out information. You guys are the fuel that makes the engine run.
This is very true.
So, because your stuff, your stories, that's what keeps us going too. Auntie says, coffee, my favorite supplement vehicle. Yep.
I agree.
And the Dr. Bear iodine video was with, I believe that's supposed to be Dr. Brownstein. Yes, I believe
right.
That's the one. Yeah. Juju says, I'm judging you as fun. Yes. And Lolo loves the shirt. So see, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. There is Mary. Hi from Anchorage. Well,
hey,
hello, Mary. I bet it's a little colder where you are than it is here.
For sure.
Let's see. Juju says, I found a pound of venison in my freezer from a neighbor who moved that I forgot about. Well, hey, bonus meats.
Bonus meats are a good thing.
Gotta love it. Air Frying Auntie says, I've tried to stay close to my proper human diet this last month. Will be so much easier when I can really cook again.
Absolutely.
I need a restart. You know what? I understand. And this is the thing, guys. This is why it's like, you can't beat yourself up and be hateful with yourself if you can't be perfect. You want to do the best you can every day, of course. It's never an excuse to just, do whatever you want and, well, I couldn't do anything. I'm not saying that. But if there's times where you're just doing the best you can, like this, where, Auntie has been trying to heal from her back surgery and she's just trying to do what she can, you just do the best you can. And then as soon as you can get to where you're cooking and you're in control of it again, go back to doing what you got to do. And, don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up on stuff. And certainly don't beat yourself up like you're somehow not worthy because you can't do it perfect.
True.
I'm not perfect at it. I don't think there are very many people out there who are. Even the ones that say they are, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. So, let's see. Juju says, I've had an absolute insane week, so I made myself a stupid, simple meal plan. Eggs, burger patties, and top sirloin. Thursday night, we have to rush to dinner, so I'll throw a protein shake in.
There you go.
And
see, nothing wrong with that.
And you just make it work.
Yeah.
You just make it work. And she says, work smarter, not harder. Absolutely. Love Music Learning is here. Good to see you. She says, I would love more information on that. I suffer from PCOS and fibroids.
Gotcha.
Great.
Cool.
So we will definitely be working on getting some info for you guys. Yeah. Holly Springer says, getting pregnant again, went keto for hubby. Now I have a 9-month-old grandbaby.
I've heard a lot of people using keto and carnivore, and ketovore has ways to kind of help with fertility and stuff. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. I believe that was related to her daughter. There's a comment above, so I believe it's her daughter that was getting pregnant again. And she went keto for her hubby and then ended up with a 9. Now, Holly has a 9-month-old grandbaby.
That's so awesome.
Dr. Barry says this, keto and carnivore, they'll get you pregnant. Be careful.
That's awesome.
Lynn says, that's why I'm involved in 475 different channels. Haha. I learn different things from each one. I'm all about learning. Plus, I just love all you great people.
Aww,
Lynn, we love
you too.
So much. Juju says, never or almost never. Too much money. Get a good food truck.
There you go.
Yeah, if we were going to do something like that, the food truck would probably be a much easier way to get into it when the time came.
Absolutely.
Patricia says, please, women's bodies should come with an instruction manual. I totally agree.
I agree, and they're all different for each woman too. So yeah.
Yep. This is a great question. Deborah wants to know if I'm going to do a video on the exercise bands. I do Aquafit every day for 2 hours. Was thinking about buying some. Yes, I'm going to. So here's the deal. Be honest with you guys. I haven't started yet. Mm-hmm. And the reason I haven't started is because I bought them. Mm-hmm. We went to California, and I was going to start when I got back. And in California is when I had my back issues.
Yep.
And they were real bad. And so I went through KPL and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I got to make sure my back is good. And then after my back was good, before I was able to start, we got into the holidays and getting caught up with all this stuff. So I have them. I will be starting them. But my timeline got pushed back just a little bit because I need to do research on what kind of exercise band program I want to do. Mm-hmm. And when my back was just all messed up, that was like, this is not the time to try to start this. So I didn't want to make it worse. So, but yes, I absolutely will as soon as I get on that train. So Juju says, what are the Tennessee laws on supper clubs, once a month, an underground restaurant at home? I don't know about that. I know what it is as far as like cottage food laws. That's how we were able to do a bakery out of our home before we moved that into a venue. But I don't know exactly what the supper club laws are.
I don't know. We'd have to check it out.
Might have to look at it.
Yeah.
Might have to look at it. Risa says there's a number of deep fry thermometers at Walmart and Target that clip to the pot. Yep, that's another great option. So, Cindy says, "Lol, Chris Cooking Nashville, love you and putting people in their place."
There you go.
Listen, I'm like, I don't want to be mean to people. Like, I really don't. But it's also like, we don't sit here and let ourselves be the target of mean people either. Because, and it's not about me. My ego doesn't need for me to tell people to shut up. But people in the comment section who don't have the same confidence I do, who are like I used to be, they do need someone to stand up for them. Mm-hmm. Because I needed someone and I didn't have anybody. So,
which is why we're here, why we created the community.
It's why I do what I do. So you
stand up for others when they cannot stand up for themselves. And then when they stand up for themselves, you reach back and you pay that forward.
That's right. And we just want you guys to go do the same thing for others. Mm-hmm. Lynn says a restaurant would be wonderful, Chris, but I think you reach more people with your knowledge and talents via the internet. Kind of like Dr. Barry reaching more people now, not a practicing doctor.
Yeah, good point.
I totally agree. Deanne Harmon is here. I've known Deanne since I was a little kid. Love her. She says, personally, I love the Grinch shirt. I do too.
I do too, yeah.
I do too. And Janelle says, if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amy says, people are so crude. Go away, stupid people.
True.
Yes. Crow says, big hello to Dr. Barry. I'm telling you what, if Dr. Barry pops in a comment section, it is very quickly apparent how many people love that man. Yeah. Myself included. So.
Absolutely.
Amy says, I wear hot pink and purple leggings and sweats all the time, and I'm sure that this almost 50-year-old grandma doesn't look hot in them, but I wear them because they are comfy. I'm sure you look amazing.
Yeah,
Come
I
on
you look like
now.
a total babe. But I mean, if you're happy and if you're comfortable, like who cares? Like, come on.
Right. Love Music Learning says, I love wearing comfy clothes. Who cares how it looks if I'm comfy?
I'm comfy.
Absolutely. See, I say I'm comfy.
I'm
comfy.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I have to say for ladies too, like this time of year, I wear a lot of like sweatshirts because I'm freezing and I'm constantly going in and out. And I know that they make me look fat because they're big and puffy, but I just don't care.
Yes.
It's like, because I know, what I'm doing and all works and I'm doing my thing. It's just,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be comfy.
Juju B is referring to you talking about skin tight fitting clothing. She says, this isn't OnlyFans. You got that right. And believe me, if it was OnlyFans, I would not be the person who had an account. So have you ever taken dinner rolls and shrink wrapped them? That's what that would be like. We don't want that. No. I'm not at a point with my body shape where that would even be a thing.
Oh my God.
No, we don't do that. No one wants to see that. I don't want to see it myself. Mm-hmm. I'm doing good, but I still have weight to lose, so.
No shrink wrapping dinner rolls.
Holly Springer says, my grandmother always told me if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Think you look great, both of you. Well, thank you kindly.
Thank you.
You're very sweet. Tanya says, I'm down somewhere between 35 and 45 pounds and still wear my big baggy clothes because they are comfortable.
Yeah,
yes,
comfy.
Absolutely. And here's the deal. You losing weight and being healthy is not about you living up to some physical expectation that somebody else has of you.
True. True.
Holly says, Cindy, I have your carne bread in my fridge for turkey sandwiches. Thanks for the great recipe. That's awesome. That's awesome. She says, you mean Chris, right? I don't have a Carna bread recipe.
Whichever
one you
They
have.
like
You got a Carna bread recipe.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see. Well, Karen is here. Says, well, good morning. Just leaving from the gym. We'll listen on my way home. Well, hi,
Awesome.
Karen. We're
Hey,
glad
Karen.
you're here. And let's see. Juju says, that recipe sounds so good. Another was talking about veggies on another carnivore stream, and I was called a troll for saying I'm 95% carnivore in winter and closer to 75-80% when my garden is growing. Yeah, it's listen.
How dare you eat a vegetable?
Yeah, I know.
Call the carnivore police.
No dogmatic nonsense for me. Same here, Juju. I just, listen. If it works for you, that's all that matters. It's Dr. Berry talks about this. It's a spectrum. It goes all the way from almost like paleo kind of low carbish all the way down to lion diet, and anywhere in between that makes you feel good and makes you happy and gets you your health goals. Who cares? Why do we have to label ourselves and split ourselves into groups? That's just silly. Again, we're here to support each other and love each other. And we support you, and you not being 100% says it's not possible for you. The mental health aspect of actually growing and tending my plants is so much of my success. I think that's great.
Yeah.
You found what works. Listen, we met Juju when we went to Virginia.
Oh, we sure did.
And we got to give her a hug. And I'm telling you what, she looks good. She got it going on.
She had a nice outfit. She cute.
Yeah.
It was working for you. Also, like
Yeah.
the mental health thing, that brings you joy.
Yes.
I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, so much of our well-being is sourced with our brain. I mean, so good for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lolo Carter has a question. What type of Parmesan cheese for the mash? I'm going to finally try to make it. Lolo, any kind you want. You can use, if you don't mind a tiny bit of cellulose in it and you want to use the canned stuff, I'm not going to judge you for it. If you want to get just a little piece of actual real fresh Parmesan and just grate it real finely yourself, that works too.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
It really enjoy it, though. Those are so tasty.
It's such a minimal amount, and it's just a slight element of the flavor profile. It really doesn't matter. It just does a little bit of an umami thing in there that makes it nice. So whatever you're comfortable using. Patricia says, Ash, there's got to be a song in that one. Let me show you my Telecaster.
I think you're right. We'll give Patricia writing credit.
That's right. There's Cindy Lincoln, the Steak and Butter Gal video. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Amy says, I made your mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving. They were amazing. It was a little hard on my Ninja blender, though. Next time I think I need to start with more heavy whipping cream. Any suggestions? So you can start with a little more heavy whipping cream. Also, add the eggs in, half of them. Do the heavy whipping cream, get that texture right, scoop a bunch of it out, and then put the other half in and do the same thing. Put them in a bowl, mix them together. If you're making my 2.0 version that does not have any egg white powder, it's also real easy to reheat. Just throw it into a saucepan, use a little cream or butter as necessary, reheat it. It's all good. So that's what I would say. If you don't have a high-powered blender, just do it in batches. Takes a little bit longer, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, that way you just don't overwork it.
Let's see. Andy says, you tell him, Ash.
Listen, I gotta tell you like it is. I'm very blunt, in case y'all haven't noticed. And you know what?
Yep.
I just saying it like it is.
Love Music Learning makes a great point. The relative anonymity on the internet does not mean it's okay to say something you wouldn't say to that person face to face. I agree. I'd never walk up to somebody and look at them and say, your shirt makes you look fat.
Well, honestly, I mean, what's the point in that?
Right.
It makes you look like a dick. And then it makes the other. I'm serious.
You're not wrong.
I mean, even whether it's online or in person, if you walk up and say something like that, it makes you look like a dick, and then it makes the other person feel terrible, and it makes them go through this. And it's like, so what are you benefiting from that?
Hey,
what is the purpose of it?
You know that sweatshirt you really like and makes you real happy? I think it's stupid.
Okay.
I left first grade a long time ago.
Right. We ain't got time for that.
Maggie, the substitute teacher, is here. Happy holidays, supporting the fun and festivities. Thank you, Maggie. She has an amazing channel, by the way, guys, and she is very supportive of the channel. We love her. You just made my husband bust a gut. He co-signs that advice.
There you go.
Crystal says you two are fun together. Well, listen, we try to be.
We're nuts. That's the thing. We just don't care.
That's all it is. Amy says we love you two, Chris and Ash. Let's see. Lynn says, haha, great advice, Chris. Maybe you need to run a cooking dating channel combo. I'm telling you what.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you what.
Maybe so.
Here's how to get yourself a woman. Learn to cook.
And wear comfy baggy
Wear
clothes.
comfy baggy stuff.
That's what it is.
Amy says, I still want the love story video. Now it has to include the Grinch sweatshirt. Yes.
That's sweet. Chris and I were talking about that, by the way, Amy, because we actually really liked that idea. We've been actually kind of starting to gather stuff for it, but we were thinking maybe around Valentine's Day we'd put that out. So
that would be a good one.
Sometime around there would be fun.
That'd be a good one. Bonita is here. Last year at this time, I committed to 90 days of keto. My progress has been slow, but that's okay. I'm in a better place than I was 1 year ago, so here's to another great year. Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic.
And so whatever you did this year, just do it a little bit more the next year.
That's right.
And then do it a little more the next, and just keep it one day at a time. That's all you got to do. All you got to do. It is not an overnight change. You didn't get to a point of unhealth quickly. You're not going to fix it all quickly, especially because you have to change your whole psychological outlook on all these things, because we have been so conditioned to do things a certain way, and we have to unprogram all of that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Patricia says, I have long hair and lost half of it due to extreme stress. 4 years later, it's all back and curlier than it was.
Aww,
there you go. That's
awesome.
another thing. Stress and cortisol can
it ruins
cause that.
it. Yep.
Let's see. Rana Richardson is here. Been 179 days on carnivore, went on vacation, got off track, and can't get back to just carnivore, I believe because of the sweet tooth. Rana, I understand. It is very difficult. So here's what I suggest. If you're trying to kick a sweet tooth, go carnivore. As soon as you start craving something sweet, you have bacon, you have beef, you have eggs, you have a chunk of butter. It's beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, just like Dr. Berry talks about. And when you eat until you're not just stuffed, you're very stuffed. I had to do this because if you're craving a sweet or you want something that's not carnivore, the minute you start getting hungry, you're going to have a lot harder time saying no. So use that to squash those cravings intentionally, and then you'll be able to get back on track off that. That worked for me. I'm not saying you have to do that or it will guarantee that it's going to work for you, but that's my advice because that's what worked for me, because I had a hard time a couple of times. Ash can tell you there were times that I craved things, and that's what I'd do. I would eat as many beef patties and as many eggs with a whole bunch of butter as I possibly could fit inside myself.
Yeah.
And that way, if you're not even close to hungry and you're still craving sweets, you can then identify that. You say, that's an addiction.
Yep.
That's a problem. And it shines a light into that little dark corner of your mind.
Yep.
Cranky Carnivore says, based on my wife's experience, I believe the instruction manual would require daily revisions.
You ain't wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But you know what? There's a man who understands.
Yeah.
And he says, I get it. Based on my wife's experience, I don't know crap about this.
Right.
Love it.
I also just love that username. So funny.
That's so great. Amy says, I did exercise bands as part of my therapy for my hip. That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, exercise bands are such a great thing. Air Frying Auntie sent us a $10 super chat. Auntie, you're just the greatest. Love you guys.
We
so
love
positive,
you.
supporting, uplifting. We love you, and you are supporting and uplifting and positive for us too. And
Yes.
that's the thing. Like, you guys don't realize sometimes we need this as much as you do. We just happen to be the ones on the screen, but all of us are here together. We need you guys as much as I hope maybe you might need us.
Again, we created Chris Cooking Nashville based on our own needs and what we wish was
Yes.
around when we were doing this.
Absolutely.
So you teach us, we teach you. That's the part of the community. So
we're all in this together.
no,
right?
we're not. No, I hate that song. It's like, that babe.
I know.
But what he said, we're
Yes.
all in this together.
Love music learning. Comfy. That's right. Comfy. I'm
Try
comfy.
saying that word normal again.
That's
You won't.
right. Yep, you guys will
Won't.
never hear it the same. Juju says, I've recently noticed a reframe of my own thinking to myself. Why would they wear that in public to think, wow, I wish I had that person's confidence? I totally suffer in confidence.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, you hide that very well, because when we met you, I thought you were just a super powerhouse confident lady. So God bless you for all you do. And I agree. I'm the same way. I look at things very differently now. Janelle says, thank you for all you do. Janelle, we thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Andy Milady Laugh-A-Lot is here, says, I'm late to
Hey.
the party, but I'm here. I'm so glad you're here. Mary Swick says, need the iodine video. Mary, it has been linked on my YouTube channel, so if you swap over to YouTube, in the comment sections in the live chat on these YouTube videos on either of the YouTube channels, that link is there. I don't know if there's a way to drop that in for you on Facebook, but But it is linked there. And if you can't find it, send me an email, info@chriscookingnashville.com, and I'll send you the link when I find it too.
Yeah. And keep us posted too, like once you start using iodine.
Yeah.
Come back and tell us how it goes, because we've heard a lot of really great stories, and we would love to see what you think about it once you actually get going on it for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. A bunch of people saying hi to Andy being here.
Yeah.
Juju says the dopamine hit from turning one tiny seed into 20 pounds of tomatoes. Dude, just saying.
Oh my gosh.
Lynn says, just say what you mean, Ash.
I used to be really when I was younger, very like politically correct at all times or whatever, and I think it's gotten worse since I've cleaned up my diet, but there's just no filter. I'm just like, I just ain't got time for this. Like, no.
Yep.
Lynn, you're funny.
Andy says, OMG, saw a reel someplace, put all the dating apps together, call it What's Left.
What's left?
I love it. Amy says it's a good thing he didn't say that to Ash. If he would have said that to Ash, I would have had some choice words, and I would have just blocked him from the beginning.
You know, honestly, though, I was telling Chris, I mean, like, not to go back to the whole women's health thing, but, you know, I lost 100 pounds. And even at my heaviest, no one ever told me that I was overweight or fat.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, I never got that. And it's funny because you think with being a musician, like, people are so into your appearance and all that, but people would body shaming and all that in society nowadays is just so frowned upon.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think there's the whole movement with that. And then when Chris started his YouTube channel, and as I started to be more and more a part of it, that was the first time that I ever got called fat, though, was after I lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, or, people will comment, oh, I don't think she's following the diet.
Yep.
I think she gained weight.
Yep.
So what?
When you put yourself out there as someone who's trying to improve your life, people who are weak, tiny, little people who have no self-worth in themselves and need to tear everyone else down as a result, decide that, oh, you're improving your life. Well, now I have to figure out how to criticize every last element of it.
And a lot of it is honestly people that have their own insecurities, and it's like when you do something like you're losing weight or you're trying to better yourself in any way, shape, or form, a lot of people are going to attack you for that.
Yep.
And you need to know that, and that's okay. But
go into it knowing that, and go into it with the knowledge that it doesn't matter, and lean on the community here, on people like us who are in your corner and helping support you against it.
Right.
And that's why we do what we do.
Right.
That's why we do it. Yeah.
Patricia just gave the whole love story video that's coming out. That's our script. The love story. Ash walked into the Guitar Center and Chris showed Ash's Telecaster.
Oh, Patricia, thank you for everything you do.
Oh, we appreciate you. Lots of good laughs this morning. I like it.
Oh, goodness. Cindy says, I just put up our Wednesday live stream with the title, How to Rid Yourself of Bad Habits. Love it. If you guys didn't know, Cindy does live streams, and
amazing live streams,
she and Brian are amazing.
They're the best.
Let's see.
Oh, and I think, is that the iodine link?
Yeah, it looks like the iodine link. It's huge, but there you go. On Facebook.
But there you go. It's on Facebook now. Thank you so much, Chanel. You are a rock star.
Yep, there we go. Carnivore K is here, says, I'm late driving. Well, that's okay.
Oh,
We're so glad to see you, Kay. Thank you. And Juju says, I fake it well. I'm extremely introverted extrovert. I'm not the girl to ask to do things on the fly. I have to mentally prepare for energy requirements in advance. I hear you.
Yeah.
I understand.
I think a lot of people are that way.
I totally understand. Let's see. Cool. So there's the bottom of the comment section. So I want to tell you guys, before we just, take up your entire day here, I titled this Desperate for Health, Let Us Help. And the reason I did that is because I was watching a video, and I have linked it in the description box of both of the YouTube channels. I didn't have a way to do it on Facebook. Maybe one of the moderators can. But I linked a video from Ready, Set, Keep. Used to be Ready, Set, Keto. James and Emily. I linked this video because actually I was in the Dustin's live stream yesterday, and Cindy was talking about this, and I had not seen this video, so since she was talking about it, she said James and Emily need some community. And I thought, okay, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why? What's happening? So I went and I watched the video. And I saw two very honest, transparent, and hurting people. in that video. And they were struggling, and it's not that the struggle they're going through is like, the end of the world kind of struggle, but I totally understand how they feel.
Right.
So I linked that video down below. I'd love for you guys to do me a favor, go watch that video, thumbs up that video, give them support in the comments section, subscribe to their channel if you haven't yet, because James and Emily, we met them at KPL, and I've subscribed and followed their channel for a long time, but for a long time they also weren't putting out videos, and they are again. And this video is all about this weight loss challenge that they kind of have given themselves doing keto, and then they were talking about the holidays and struggling staying keto. And it's like these very minimal things they've done, but then they gain weight. Mm-hmm. And, the question James asks in the video is, he's like, what is it I'm doing? What am I not doing that other people are? Or what is it I'm doing that other people aren't? Like, what am I doing wrong, essentially? Like, what is wrong with me is kind of the undertone of what he was saying. And it's at a point where he's literally, like, stopping and walking off camera because he's breaking down. Mm-hmm. Like, he's crying about it. And it's like, and I feel him. I've been there. What is wrong with me? Why can I not? Why is it other people can do all these things and I just can't? And it's like, why am I worthless compared to others is kind of the undertone of that feeling you're going through in that moment.
Yeah. And
it broke my heart. Because it's like, I'm sitting on the outside of this watching it happen to him, and I'm like, I've been there. And now for me, I'm at a point with carnivore and all these things, like I do things, maybe I lose weight, maybe I don't, I'm not too worried about it, I just feel great and I'm running my channel and doing my thing and living my life. I wasn't always there. There were times I was just beating myself up over this stuff, and I know exactly what he's feeling. And so I saw that, and I was like, okay, first of all, as a community, we need to go support James and Emily, because they're trying very, very hard to be on track and do what they need, and they need support, and they need to know they're not alone. The other thing, and this is something Ash and I talked about, and I wanted to know what you guys think of this. We have talked about doing some more extended series-based videos. Mm-hmm. And essentially, this would be incorporating things like going out to a restaurant and looking at these foods and eating these foods even, and showing you what happens to me as someone who is eating a carnivore diet. What happens if I go out and have a cheat meal? Like, I'm talking like I'm going to get like a keto mojo, and I'm going to test my blood sugar, and I'm going to test my ketones, and I'm going to see what happens. And then I'm going to be real open, honest, and raw about what it feels like for me to be carnivore and then randomly go out and eat these things I used to eat. That would be kind of a first video, and then it would attach to a second video where I would show you how that standard version of that food is made. I would actually like go into like recipes of like, here's how I used to make this stuff myself, because most places we go out to eat, I also made that stuff at home for myself. Like, I cook all that stuff, and I know how all those recipes work. So I could show you, well, here's why this is doing it to you, because here's even the cleaner home version. Look at the junk that goes into this. This is how it's made. And then I would link that to a keto or carnivore version of that food and show you, this is why I make this stuff at home. And the reason that I was thinking about this is one of the things James talks about in that video is going out to a Chinese restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I think it was maybe with friends or with like a work thing, or I don't know, some reason he was there though. And he picked the most keto things he possibly could, like chicken and broccoli, beef and broccoli. Like, didn't eat the rice, didn't eat the, the crazy stuff, whatever. Knowing like, okay, yeah, there's probably some seed oils and some other junk hidden in this, but this is the best I can do. And was really careful to eat like a normal portion and not overdo it and all this stuff. And he still was like, I had 7 pounds of extra fluid and weight on my body the next day. Mm. That is so disheartening.
Yeah. When
that happens to you. I get it. But so many people are just completely unaware, I think, of what goes into foods like that. Because if you're not cooking that at home, how would you know how that recipe is made? Mm-hmm. Like, it's taken me years of research to learn how all these recipes work, because that's a passion of mine.
Right.
And now that I'm keto, carnivore, doing that whole thing with my cooking, I have so many different things I'm intentionally trying to do to replicate those foods without using the junk ingredients that make them what they are. So would you guys find this interesting if I did series of these things? And the reason I want to do that is because I'm looking at something like James struggling, and I'm like, he needs information. He needs support of community, and he needs to know he's not alone. So we do this in a way where we are supporting the community. We are giving you information. We are teaching you the things that I know about this. And here's the deal. I have my food addiction, carb addiction issues so well under control at this point. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying, like, I've done the work to try to get that so under control. I'm not afraid to go out and eat something, and I'm not going to overdo it, but eat something I know is not good for me and show you what actually happens to my body and explain to you what actually happens. Because I've told Ash, I've had a few cheat meals, and when I do eat something I'm not supposed to eat, and because it's like, okay, this is a recreational drug, I'm choosing to use it. When I eat that, I sit there and I can feel my blood sugar go up. I can feel my body get hot. I can feel myself become lightheaded. I start getting sleepy. I start getting these weird experiences. I'll show you guys exactly what I go through. I will explain it in detail. I will go through all of that, and then the very next day go right back to being a strict carnivore and tell you what my experience is like for the next week as I go back to feeling better again. Because I can tell you it takes me anywhere from 3 to 5 days to get to where I feel normal again. I will do that, and I will show you guys what this is like for me, because I think there are people out there, and it's not that James needs this. Like, I mean, he and Emily are doing great. They really are. And they're putting so much pressure on themselves trying to live up to what they're doing online for all of us. And that's why I want you to go and support them and tell them they're not alone and that you are proud of their progress, because even if you don't see it on the scale, they are making progress and they need support as they're doing it. So please go do that. But I saw that, and it made me realize there are people out there who need help and support. And they need to see someone else going through this to understand, well, that's the way I feel. That's what's happening to me. Like, I think that's a really important thing. I wish I would have had access to something like that. So would you guys like to see these kinds of series? I'd love to know.
And I think something too, if I can, add on, is these series would not be something that we would do, continuously or regular, but we're thinking maybe a couple a year or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, the fastest I would even be able to do these kinds of things is one cheat meal a month. Because, I mean, it would be like if I did a cheat meal, well, that would be a whole video. And then I wouldn't have another video until a week later. And then I wouldn't have another video until a week later. I mean, we're talking like, if I was, and I'm not even doing these regularly, like every single week. I'm talking about if I was to do a series of this would be like the maximum I could crank out would be one meal a month going out to these things. And honestly, this is not like hey, I'm going to go to a Chinese buffet and I'm going to binge on everything I want.
No.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going out on a very controlled basis, doing this and actually showing you guys what happens. Because here's the deal. I'm not worried about that. That one small meal of something is not going to like irreparably harm me.
Yeah.
That's not I don't eat and live that way anymore. I also don't live in fear of the food that used to control my life, because it doesn't anymore. So I'm not worried about that. That would be like, I mean, the maximum of these I could do would be 12 a year. That's the maximum.
I'm thinking just once every couple of months, and like you said, it's kind of like a controlled science experiment, truthfully. Yeah. But we were talking about, and when you watch that video, James is like, he's like, I don't understand what I did. Yeah. And Chris is, being the foodie science, weird guy that he is. I mean, the way his brain works, how he comes up with these recipes, his brain automatically went to, well, this is how it's prepared. Right. So I can explain to you where most people maybe don't know, like all of the hidden carbs and starches and MSG and all that was in that food. Yep. And so it's kind of like what we say, knowledge is power. Yep. So I think the thing was, Chris, again, would really just be having one cheat meal controlled and checking his ketones, but also what a great way to show people that are on a standard American diet who would look at this meal and go, well, that must be fairly healthy, right? It's broccoli and it's chicken and it's whatever. Right. And it's like, well, let's use, the Keto Mojo. Let's check all these different things.
Yep.
And it's like, let us show you what that does to the human body.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, no one on a standard American diet probably even knows.
Yep.
And they probably think it's totally normal to feel like crap. And they just go, oh, I ate too much. And it's like, it's a whole thing where we're hoping to maybe educate people that are on a standard American diet.
Yep.
To kind of show maybe what this food actually does to your body and why you may want to switch over. And then the rest of it is honestly education and it's science.
Yep.
It's showing you how those foods are prepared in a restaurant. How is this? And then the series would end with Chris showing you how he would make a keto and or carnivore version of it. So that way you can enjoy the same food.
Yes.
But then show it how the keto carnivore version, how your body reacts to that versus what our standard American diet friends eat.
Right.
And just a video series, almost like a TV show though, that would just show the knowledge, and the power and just the facts of what it actually does to your body.
Absolutely. I also think I'm seeing in the comments people, saying like, don't hurt yourself and don't cause problems and all this. And I appreciate the concern. I really do. But I want you guys to also understand the reason that I'm even considering doing something like this is you need to realize where I come from. I used to eat this stuff, not one small controlled meal once a month. I used to eat this stuff 3 times binge-worthy size meals every single day of my life, plus the snacks and the junk in between. So what my body has been through is so night and day different than what I'm even talking about doing. And it would take, very intentional self-control, but there's a reason for this. There are so many people out there that are doing this to themselves every single day. Multiple times a day. And when you say, you should do keto carnivore, it's going to fix all of your health issues, look at my 6-pack. People don't relate to that. It's not that they may not think that's cool, and maybe it inspires them, but that doesn't relate to what that person is going through, right? But if I'm saying, okay, here's what I do on my keto and carnivore lifestyle. Here's this one meal. Look what happens to my body. Let me explain to you how I feel about this. And now let me go ahead and show you what happens, what it is I do to clean all this stuff up, explain to you why that was happening, and what I do to get cleaned up off of that. There is no reason. I mean, I'm not diabetic. I am not someone who is like teetering on the edge of going off the rails. I'm not someone who has any massive acute medical issue to worry about. Like I'm a 36-year-old guy who, my body can handle these things. And I've told you guys, I'm open and honest about the fact that there are times for special events I choose to have cheat meals as it is. I already do this because I know it's a drug. I know it's not good for me, and I choose to do it. It's the same reason someone decides to have a glass of wine. It's the same reason somebody chooses a more illegal sort of a substance, it's not good for you, but we're human beings. We're a full-age, adult, consenting human beings to choose to have these things that are made available to us. But the problem is that people who are keto and carnivore see it as a poison, and people who are not think we're crazy for seeing it that way. So what if we actually show what happens? What if we actually bridge the gap between people who think we're nuts and people who think it's nuts that I would ever consider even doing this? Because somehow you have to get from point A to point B. You cannot help people if you circle the wagons and everybody stays in their little group, right? I'm trying to reach all of the people in the world that think keto and carnivore is crazy, and I'm trying to give them recipes that are tools. And I'm not saying that, this would, again, I'm not saying this is just like a regular thing, that I'm going to be doing this, a meal every single week like this, because that would ruin my own health goals for me to do it every week. That would not be a good thing. But if I did it once a month, I can handle that. That's not a problem. That doesn't even concern me because it's not a big deal. Also, how many people are saying things like, hey, I just went through Thanksgiving and now I can't get back on track.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing. So, the only difference between me and them is mine's a whole lot more public and I'm showing how you get back on track. You know, I mean, there's even Dr. Barry and Nisha have talked about how, you know, like Dr. Barry has keto sweets when it's like a holiday. Or Nisha has talked about, like, for her birthday, she had a glass of wine. I think it was
Yeah.
wine, or, you know, a cocktail of some kind or something like that. Like, even people like that do this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that you use that as a way to lean into it. And that's another thing that you guys have to realize. When I'm saying I'm going to do this, if you're interested in this, this is not an excuse for me to go eat all the carbs I want. This is not an excuse to have any of the junk I used to have. It is not an excuse to go off the rails. And if I feel like there's an addiction coming back up, I will stop and be like, no, we can't do this.
I also think accountability is a big part of all of this, clearly.
Yep.
So I think that this idea would help a lot of people, and I actually think that Chris, again, going through the beginning with him and going through all of this, I think that Chris is totally at a point where he can totally have something like this and, you know, use the glucose monitor, get the information, and then go right back on track and do it. Because I've seen him do it. And it's like, you know what? This actually, though, I think would help people. So I'm on board, but I totally understand. Like, I think it's my job as his wife and as his business partner to make sure that he is not going off the rails and that he's, you know, doing the right things and all of that. But I think where all this is coming from, though, is go watch that video and look at James.
Yep.
And it's like, go watch that man cry because of what he's going through.
Right.
And I think we all can relate to that feeling of feeling like a total failure. Like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
What is this? And it's like, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's, you know, it could be a lot of things. But Chris's brain, I think Chris has the ability to explain things, how things are prepared, and what goes actually into the process of making these foods that we think are healthy, that we love, that would cause you to gain weight, even if it's just water weight, or be inflamed.
Right.
And I think knowledge is power. Also, it's great that we know that when you go and eat something like that, that it, you know, does these things to your body. But what about our standard American diet friends? And how can you make the argument where, you know, they say, oh, you know, I, you know, that doesn't seem to bother me and I'm fine. It's like, well, you guys don't really know what your body naturally should feel like, you know? You're kind of just living in a fog. So
yeah.
I definitely think that keeping Chris accountable is not an issue. And like I said, I think this would be like a once a month or maybe like a quarterly video series, but literally like we want to do like a TV show.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think this is what maybe this comes down to a little bit for me. You know, there are people that say, oh, well, this study shows that this happens when you have this. And what's one of the arguments that you always hear? Well, yeah, but that was done in rats.
Right.
I've never seen any actual proof of this. Like, you have people on one side of an argument saying all of these things. You have people on another side of an argument saying all these things. And that's great. And this, I'm not a medical study. Like, I mean, this is a completely anecdotal sort of a thing where it's one person. But it's like, this is hey, I'm going to go have this thing that people say, I tried to stay as keto as I possibly could. Why did this happen to me? I go have it. I show you what happens in my body. And then say, okay, and here's why that's happening. Right? Because I can tell you all day long, well, this is in that, and it's causing this, and it's causing that. Right. Well, but you don't understand that blah, blah, blah. That stuff doesn't do that to you. Like, that's the opposite argument you're going to hear from people who do eat that stuff. There's all this information out there where it's like, oh, it's all about calories. It doesn't matter what you eat. It's calories in, calories out. It's all these different things, right? There's so much noise out there. Unless I can show you from the beginning to the end of a series of videos where it's like, eat the junk, here's what happens to me, here's how I clean it up, and here's how I make a keto carnivore version of it, and now you understand the whole process of why I create my recipes and why I do what I do. How else would I make that clear of an argument from the beginning to the end? Because the noise that gets introduced in all of the dark places and all of the empty spots that don't get covered in every argument, that's what creates all of the problems for people who are thinking about keto or carnivore and then hear, oh, it's a bad idea, and then they go down all these rabbit holes. That's where all of that is. It's all of the loose ends that are not tied up.
I agree. I also think, I know for myself, when we were starting to do keto and carnivore and whatnot, there were certain foods that I never realized were high in carbohydrates or high in whatever. And would you tell, because you tell it way better than I do, remember when we went to Chipotle when we were on keto?
Absolutely.
Could you maybe tell that story? And then I have a point with it.
Yeah. We went to Chipotle. And, you know, this was when we were keto. I was not carnivore yet. We went to Chipotle when we were doing keto. And they have like these cauliflower bowls that are meant to be low carb.
Yes.
And so we got these cauliflower bowls, and God bless my wife for choking down the cauliflower rice. You guys want to know why I do my carnivore rice recipe, why I developed that? It's because I couldn't do the cauliflower rice. But we were trying, we got these cauliflower rice bowls. And we sit down to eat, and I wasn't paying any attention. She had gotten hers, and she got the corn salsa. And she was super excited about this because she loves the corn salsa at Chipotle. And I was like, did you get corn? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, that's really high carb. And I realized the way I said it was very judgmental, and I really felt bad about it because it made her feel really terrible. And she was like, she apologized to me because she didn't realize that corn was that high carb because we were new to this. And it's like, and I felt like a total tool because it was like I was being rough and aggressive and all this. And this is before I had carnivore in my life, so I was much more mentally unstable than I still am. And I felt terrible, and I still feel terrible about that. Like, I can remember the way that she looked at me and said she was sorry. And it's like, that wasn't really my point. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad, but I came across as a real jerk. And she didn't know that corn had a whole bunch of carbs in it. And I was like, well, it's basically just pure grain corn starch sugar.
So Chris had done hours and hours of research to learn all of this and the seed oils that are in that food and all this stuff. And so it was a thing where it's like he didn't know what he knows now.
Right.
I definitely didn't know because to me growing up, the idea of having corn is a vegetable.
Corn is a veggie.
Is healthy.
Right.
Chipotle was considered healthy lunch alternatives,
healthy fast
fresh food. Like, and so I did. So I ate the cauliflower rice. I had the seed oils. I had the corn, and it's like.
And you felt terrible the next day.
And I felt terrible the next day. But then it's like, well, now I feel like I'm a failure because it's like, well, I didn't know that corn, and then especially then we did research on how they make that corn salsa and the stuff that they add into it to make it that sweet tasting stuff and all that. So then I felt dumb and I felt terrible because I'm like, well, I didn't know this had high carbs. I didn't know that this had sugar. I didn't know whatever. So then I'm gaining weight. I feel terrible. I'm inflamed. And just like James in that video, it's like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
You didn't know how that food was prepared.
Right. There's something in that food that and sometimes maybe you do the research. Maybe you don't do the research.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you've done the research, you still don't know because it's hard to find out what a restaurant puts in their food sometimes.
Right.
Especially because a lot of that stuff, I mean, look about the whole maltodextrin controversy with Element, that whole thing. I mean, sometimes it's not even on the label anyway.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so as you're trying to figure out what all of this stuff is, if you don't know, how do you find out? Who is going to tell you?
Yeah.
There's all of this information out there that tells you 100 different things on all sides. Don't you guys wish that somebody would just eat the damn thing and then tell you what happens to their body and show you what happens on a glucose monitor, on a keto monitor, what happens to their insulin, like all these things, and then shows you here's how it's prepared with all of the junk that's in it, and now here's how you can have a better version that won't do that to you?
Yeah.
Don't you wish you could see from the beginning all the way through that process to the very end? And people are still going to have their own opinions, and they're still going to think that there's things in it that aren't true. That's fine. I can't fix that. What I can do is try to save as many people as possible in the world by putting myself in the midst of the fire to help pull them out of it. Firemen do not save people in a burning building by standing on the outside and just hoping that people find the door. They walk in and they try to help people, and in the process, some of them get burned and some of them don't make it out.
Yeah.
That's what it means to sacrifice to try to save people. And when I started this channel, I said I want to inspire people, and if it helps save one person's life, that's great. Now I have ended up with a huge channel with a calling to help save as many people in the world as possible, and I see this. I saw James going through that, and it's not that James needs me to do this. He has a huge community that's ready to support him, and he and Emily are doing great, and that's why I want you guys to go tell them they're doing great and just encourage them. It's not about him specifically. It's about all of the people that his thought process represents. There are so many people that need help. And how am I going to help them if I stand on the outside of the burning building they don't even know they're in, spraying water from a safe distance saying, come join me?
Yeah.
And there's not that I can't do that from time to time, and it's not that you can't. There are people who are already doing that. People like Dr. Barry are a great example. People don't need me to tell them keto is great and to give them information on medical stuff. Dr. Barry already does a great job of that. Nisha does a great job of that. Dr. Baker does a great job of that. There are so many people online that are already doing that. I don't want to go do the same thing everybody else is already doing, but just not do it as well. That would be a lame excuse of I want to help people sort of a thing based on what my skill set is. My skill set is that I can do that. I can have the self-discipline to have a single meal like that and go right back to what I'm doing because I've done it. That's the other thing. I've told you guys, I've had cheat meals. I've already done this. Like for anyone who's worried that it's like, oh, I don't want you to hurt yourself. You don't have to be worried about me hurting myself. I've already done this and I'm good.
And I would not let him hurt himself. And like
Right.
I said, if he knows, when he gets out of line,
She'll put me in my place.
I got this boy. I'm knocking back. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah. But my skill set is to go out and do this. This is a way that I can do something that I have never seen anyone in the keto and carnivore world do in the same way I'm trying to do it. Sometimes you got to throw yourself in front of the train to get the person who's on the tracks that's stuck there before it hits them. And sometimes you have enough time to throw them off before you have to take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm going to do this to a point where it's just going to completely derail my health at the expense of my health to try to save others. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one time that I would have something like that and I'm really not feeling very good after eating this. I've already been through that. I went through 30 plus years of doing that to myself every single day. My health is in so much better control. I have so much more going on in my life now than I ever dreamed. And it's like, you know what? It would be a waste for me to feel like I can help people and me say, well, I just can't do that. It's going to raise my blood sugar and, you know, that's not good for me. Like, that's because of the skill set I have. I feel like that would be doing a major disservice to people that I can help. I really do. And that's why I'm even thinking about this, because there are people that need help. I was one of them.
I agree. I'd also like to add, you know, when he had this idea and we started to talk about it and everything, we've kind of talked in depth, which is why we're throwing it out to you guys now to kind of get feedback and let us know.
Yeah.
Because again, our whole purpose on why Chris Cooking Nashville was created was we wanted to create a community and we wanted to share the knowledge of things that we learned from people like Dr. Barry and so many others that literally changed our life and is the reason why we're such different people in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
Not just with weight loss, absolutely, but physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, we're like just different people than we were a couple years ago in so many ways. But, you know, I was telling Chris, I said, I feel like this series, especially you having this cheat meal once in a while and showing like what it does to your body. When I was on the standard American diet, I would go and get a big sweet tea and I would get, you know, what I thought was healthy, good foods, and I would eat it. And within 20 to 30 minutes, I would have heartburn. And when I would say something to other people, they're like, it's just because, you know, you're 25. That happens when you turn 25.
Just happens as you get older. The older you get, the worse it gets.
The worse it gets. And then, like, my body and my joints would be stiff and they'd hurt. And, you know, same thing. Oh, it's because you're getting older.
Yeah.
And I would feel my blood, what I now know is a blood sugar spike. And I would feel emotionally unstable a couple hours later. And I would feel out of breath. I literally would find it hard to walk from place to place in my 20s. And so I always thought, well, man, I just need to go work out. And, you know, maybe that's what it is or whatever. It's like people on a standard American diet think that after you eat anything, that it's just normal and natural to feel that way. They have excuses like, well, I probably just need to work out or, you know, oh, I'm just getting older and that's why I have this problem.
Yeah.
That is what we are told in society.
Yep.
That is like the normal base. And so I think to show that like someone who doesn't eat that way feels great all the time and you have the facts and all of that stuff and then you go have one meal, which mind you, most people eat, you know, three of these plus snacks during the day and at night. And it's like, just have one meal and show what that does to your body and to your blood sugar and how you feel. And it's like, that is not normal.
Right.
And so when I say I think you should try a keto, carnivore lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
a low carb, a proper human diet. This is why I'm saying that. You just presented them with facts instead of just throwing them some information and trying to get into a debate.
Yep. I think it's also an important thing to recognize. Dr. Barry says this in live streams and things very regularly when it's like, try keto, try carnivore, do it for a month.
Mm-hmm.
A generally healthy person can do just about anything for a month with no lasting damage.
Yep.
Right? Just within reason. I mean, you don't want to do stupid things. But generally speaking, you can do just about anything for a month without it harming you. As long as my metabolic health is in a good place, doing a single meal is not going to cause any kind of permanent damage. Now, if I was teetering on the edge health-wise and I did not have the ability to do this kind of stuff, that would be a really bad idea. I'm not at that point. I have really good metabolic health overall, still have some weight to lose, but I'm doing really well, and this is something I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this for people. I can help people without it being detrimental to my own journey. And I think that's one of the other things too. I'm always talking about how keto and carnivore are Okay, I think we're back.
Oops.
I think we're back.
Let us know if you guys can see us and hear us. I think our Wi-Fi, just for some reason, I wonder if something happened outside. I think our Wi-Fi just shut.
Our Wi-Fi shut off for some reason, and then I had to get reconnected to it. So let us know if we are back. Let us know that you can see us.
Oh,
yes, we're back. Okay. So, I honestly don't remember what I was saying because it just completely disappeared on me, but I'm glad that you guys are still here. Thank you for that. Anyway, all of this is to say, one thing that is not good for me in a small and limited amount is not going to be detrimental to my long-term metabolic health. I am not at that point in my health where it would be that bad. There are people who are. So let me tell you a couple of things that this series would not be. It is not about bashing restaurants or chefs or any of these other things. It is not about any of that. It is not about bashing corporations specifically. If that kind of happens as a sort of a sidebar of whatever, it's like I'm not trying to bash them, but I'm just trying to give you guys information, and if that makes them look bad, sorry, it's not my intention, but you need information. This is not an excuse for me to get to go eat a whole bunch of things that are not supposed to be a part of my diet. I don't do that generally anyway. There are occasions where I choose to have stuff, but it is minimal, and it is purely because it's a celebration and it's an intentional choice. I'm also saying all of the time, being super clean lion diet or something like that is great. Not everyone is willing to do that, but if we could even get the world to go 60 to 70% of the way towards carnivore, look how much the health of the whole world would change. So yes, I think the cleaner and better you can be about it, the better and healthier you're going to be. I absolutely agree with that. But I'm not here to try to tell everyone who already buys into the keto carnivore thing that they're doing it right. You already know you're doing it right. I'm here to try to help people who think this is wild, wacky, and out there and crazy and a fad diet, and show them, no, here's what I am 99% of the time when it's clean, and here's what happens to my body that 1% of the time when I have something that you and all of these other people who eat this way think that's not harming me, that's the healthy stuff. Look what it's doing to me. Look what happens to my body. Look what actually happens. Right? I'm not in any way promoting that anybody go out and do this. I'm talking about me doing this and then showing people why you shouldn't do this. And if you are doing this to your body every day, this is why you should consider stopping that. Because people who are already healthy can tell people who are unhealthy all day long, don't do this, don't do that, do it my way. But there is a big dividing line between those two groups of people. Mm-hmm. There's a huge division between those two groups of people. I am trying to figure out how we bridge that. And I have multiple things that I've thought about, different ideas. I just, this seems like something that I can do that would help people. Mm-hmm. And that's why we've talked about this. And, truthfully, if I had come up with this idea and then Ash was like, this is a terrible idea, what's wrong with you? I probably would not do it. But when I said this to her, she was like, as long as you think that that's something you can control and, you're not like going overboard on what you're having, she's like, that kind of actually seems like something people need to see. Mm-hmm. And something people could really benefit from. We certainly could have.
Yeah.
We really needed this kind of information.
Yeah.
And it really didn't exist. So,
I think it kind of goes back to, I've heard, where it's like Jesus kind of talks about he didn't basically come for the healthy, he came for the sick. Mm-hmm. And, there's nothing wrong with being here and supporting everyone who already knows about it. I mean, clearly that's really great for our community. And, we learn from you guys, you learn from us, and it's we love you guys. Like, we love our community. You guys are seriously some of the greatest, and we want to help you guys growing in your health journey, but also how many billions of people are there out in the world that have no idea that this is a thing, mm-hmm. and it's like they are struggling, and we're watching the world around us just kind of have to deal with stuff, and it's like, I think that's kind of why we're just trying to help those that really don't know about this and kind of explain more of that to them. So yeah, that's kind of why we're going out on the ledge.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let me get caught up in where the comments were because everything jumped, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was so weird. The only time our Wi-Fi does something like that, I wonder if someone maybe hit something outside, like a car accident or something. Hopefully everyone's okay.
Yeah, just every now and then.
That was really weird. Yeah,
every now and then living in the city, weird things happen. Yeah. So. Cindy says, for those that don't know, James had lost 100 pounds and Emily had lost about 70, I believe. They have backslid since then trying to maintain.
It's hard.
That is so hard, and that's why this matters of, like, you need this information to know why when you do something like that and you even think you're doing the best you can, mm-hmm. why maybe you're getting the results you are. Yeah. And it's, it's just important for people to have info. Angela says, I would be worried about you hurting your body doing something like that over and over again. Right, and that's the thing. This is not like I'm going to do this 2 or 3 times a week or even every week. This is like once a month. And, again, a generally healthy person can handle something like that once a month, and it's not an issue. I mean, there are even people out there that, they carb cycle where they intentionally eat carbs mm-hmm. once a month or for like a week out of the month or whatever. I'm not promoting that. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying, like, our human bodies can handle this. Mm-hmm. The fact that I could eat what I did for 30 plus years and still be standing here, sitting here in front of you alive, shows you just how much our bodies can actually handle. So, I would hate for you to have issues from it, but it sounds like a good series. Yeah, and that's the thing. It would be doing it very intentionally so that I don't have issues. Also, it would be kind of an interesting thing of seeing, okay, so what happens if you do this? Like, do you have issues? And if issues develop, then you got to stop. Like,
right.
And if that was the case, maybe that would be a really good example of like, this is why you can't do this.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. Look, it's an experiment. So, Amy says, I would love if you made these videos because I wanted to do this very thing, but I can't because I get extremely sick from certain foods and can't. So I could share your videos instead. Absolutely. And I think more than one person has wondered about this, but no one talks about it. No one talks about this. And it's like, am I going to get super sick? Maybe. But if I am, I'm going to show it to you online and you're going to see every bit of it. I'm not, like, if I'm in the bathroom puking or something, I'm not going to get a video of that. But I'll tell you about it. Vicky is here, says 77 years old and a 4-day vacation, ate meats, etc. to stay ketovore, still have 3 weeks of joint pain after getting home and being able to make my own food. And that's the thing. What was in that stuff that caused that?
Right.
Why? Why did that happen? Lynn says that's a huge sacrifice on your part if you do those videos, Chris. If you decide to do it, I think it would be helpful for others, so thank you. I agree. And I mean, listen, I'm not in any way going to disagree with you that it's a sacrifice. It is, and I don't want any special treatment or recognition for that. I think it's just something I can do to help. It just is. Cindy says, I have to say, Brian and I went to Lee's Recipe and bought an 8-piece, only the chicken. I had a drumstick, wing, thigh, and breast. It was breaded, not the crispy. I felt fine after and now too. So see, this is the thing. You can have something like that. Depending on how strict you are, you may or may not notice an acute response. But what actually happens to you over the next few days?
Yeah.
Maybe it's nothing. Maybe we find there are certain restaurants that have things that don't cause too much of an issue. I mean, it would be as much of a great thing for me to know that as any of you.
Right.
And
it's also just knowledge, because then if you're eating out and let's say you're carnivore, ketovore, you might be able to have the knowledge in your back pocket to know, like, oh, how that's made probably won't make me feel very good.
Yep, absolutely. Angela says you could get a continuous glucose monitor to monitor things. I suppose that would help. Absolutely, and maybe I would do that. Maybe I could do something like that. And Patricia says, I support the concept. If the cheat meal does become a problem, you could skip that step, but the science would be great. Absolutely. Yeah.
The other thing, too, is we already know that I tend to handle cheat meals a lot better than Chris does anyway. So the other thing is if that did become a problem for him, maybe from time to time, I'd be more than happy to, just switch roles and let me eat it and monitor my, thing. And that's, again, going back to the difference between men and women's bodies. So that's another scientific factor.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Juju says, some of us are more sensitive than others. I knew something was up with Element. I swelled up after the packets, but not the cans. With my lupus, I can guarantee that it's corn or potato maltodextrin. Right. And that's the thing. Like, what's in this stuff? Like, this is why it matters, right? Based on my own intolerances, most are not that sensitive. So, yeah. And that's the thing. Some people have different responses to this. So, Step It Up Podcast is here. Says, if any women are looking for a women's accountability group, I've lost 155 pounds naturally, and these ladies really helped me.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. Patricia, Chris, the explaininator. That's right.
Yep.
Juju says, I got the chance to make Belgian chocolate truffles with a White House chef. I went, I did it, it was amazing. I was fine eating them. A diabetic would react differently.
True.
And that's the thing. You have to know yourself because we're all different. I know I would be able to do this and it wouldn't send me off, hurtling down the side of the mountain, and it's not going to put me in the hospital. Some people it might. So isn't it better that I do it so we can all have the information than someone who is like, well, what if I try? What if I experiment? Wouldn't it be better for them to know and then not deal with the consequences if they thought they knew what they were doing and they didn't?
Yeah, totally.
Because I'm young and healthy and can handle that. Juju says, until we know what affects us, N equals 1, we will all struggle.
Yep.
She also says, and that was one time in the last 18 months I went off plan because of the experience and ingredient quality I would be utilizing. And I totally understand, it's like, I mean, there's a point where it's like, something's going to get all of us eventually. So, are you going to miss out on some really once in a lifetime experience because it's like, oh, well, I can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people that may be necessary because the I can't have that is a I will end up in the hospital.
Right.
Other people, the I can't have that is a, oh, well, it would just go against my identity as a keto or carnivore person.
Right.
And you know, everyone gets to make their own decision. That's the thing. Everyone gets to make their own decision about all of this. Cindy says she got to go. She's going to get things done, and we'll catch the rest on replay. Bye, Cindy. Hope you have a great day. Thank you for being here. Let's see. I don't know who Juju was talking to. He meant to be educational, but came off judgmental, but he meant love. I don't know who was judgmental, but it's all love here. It's all love here.
All love.
She says the current system is rigged against us. Right, and
True.
That's the thing. We have to expose that stuff. How do you expose it? Whistleblowers usually get threats.
Yeah.
That's the way it happens. So if I'm going to expose things that are in foods we think are healthy, okay, we are back, and I don't know what is going on with our Wi-Fi, but we're having serious issues today. So there was one comment here I was going to respond to. I'm going to, and then we are going to get back out of here if I can find it. People saying they got to go. Totally understand. Yeah, this one right here. Cranky Carnivore Cutler. I'd be concerned the complete cheat meal would have too many different elements that may have negative effects so that you can't know which caused them. So here's the thing. I agree that there's a lot of different things in this, but I'm not trying to identify one specific thing causing a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to go out, show you what happens when you eat the same meal other standard American diet people would.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to my body as someone who is clean off of all of that. Then I would show you all the different things that go into that meal and say, this is why this is happening. Like, yeah, multiple things are happening, but that's the whole point. There are multiple things happening, and now I'm going to show you how you can do it better. That's kind of the whole thing. So that's what we were talking about. And James and Emily are the people that inspired me to start my YouTube channel at KPL. I need to drop in and say hi. Yes, absolutely. Juju also says, Chris, we do need you. We need you and Ash's kind, gentle heart. Not everyone can handle Dr. Barry's bluntness. It turns them off, so you turn them on being gentle. I totally understand. But you know what? I value his bluntness so much. It's why I love it. But we all play a role in this. It's just a thing we do. So
yeah.
Let me just make sure there's nothing else important here. And I know Juju said she had to go. A bunch of
we
people
appreciate
are
you guys
taking
hanging
off,
out with us, by the way, today. I know we've been here for a very long time, but I feel like this has been such a great live stream, and we've really enjoyed getting to hang out with everybody.
Auntie says, I may have spaced it. How will you determine what you will choose during this challenge? There would be a whole bunch of different reasons why we might pick one thing or another. It would be based on things we see other people doing, things that are it would be very common things that lots of people tend to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chinese food, for example, because that was James's experience. That would probably be one. So I don't know. It's a concept, it's an idea. So would love to get ideas or thoughts from you guys on it and see what we can do. So Carrie had bounced in and said, hi, bye.
Hi, Carrie,
so,
bye.
all right. Auntie says, best start on a Monday, you guys. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. We love every single one of you. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but we're going to get out of here before it happens again. So thank you for being here. We love you guys. We'll catch you very soon. This is Chris Cooking Nashville, my beautiful wife, Ash Taylor. Guys, eat your meat, love your life, and we'll catch up with you all very soon. Bye guys.